and subscribe.
Question. What makes up 13% of the population? Commits over 50% of the crimes. You? Gamer girl pee. Delicious. Oh, I hate Israel too, you know.
We're not scared of you, the top 1%.
Come again? You know, you remind me of my father. I hate baby boomers. Fucking white males. Why, hello, beautiful. I know your type. Art ho. Quirky glasses. You know how I got these scars. Here, listen to me. I know you want to be on Tumblr right now, complaining about white men, despite wanting to have sex with them, but let me tell you, my life story is actually a tragedy. My baby boomer dad took my cock and circumcised it, making me a goyim.
Welcome to the Krusty Towers, where our motto is, fuck you.
Oh, that's great.
With Operation Epic Fury.
It's only good if you win. And we won in the first hour. Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch! A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. Iran is charging seas to tankers going through the Hormuz Strait. They better not be in, and if they are, they better stop now. The leadership is dead. The Strait of Hormuz will soon be open. Iran decided to fire bullets yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz, a total violation of our ceasefire agreement. No more Mr. Nice Guy! They'll come down fast, they'll come down easy, and if they don't take the deal, it will be my honor to do what has to be done. We're fighting wars we can't take care of. Daycare. Anyone sick of winning yet?
Ladies and gentlemen, hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday evening. It is Hump Day, my dudes, and we have got a great show for you today. We're going to start off with an interview with Andrew of Otter Creek Labs, going to talk about the suppressor industry, new products, old products, and maybe a bunch of other stuff in between. And then we've got a selection of other topics for you after that event, if my voice can hold up for it. So without any further ado, we have Andrew of Otter Creek Labs and, of course, Richard. But more importantly, Andrew, how is your day going, sir?
Oh, it is it's going good. No complaints.
Fantastic. Excellent. Thank you very much for coming on the show and giving us your time. I appreciate that. We've talked a little bit over the last couple weeks trying to get this set up to come on here, talk about all things suppressors and whatnot. And I know you do have a company to run and whatnot, so I do appreciate the time coming on here. But for the people who don't know, can you go ahead and give a little bit of a rundown about yourself, what you do, and what people might be interested in?
My name's Andrew. Back in pre-COVID era, 2018, 2019, somewhere around there, we started a company called Queltec, and that's when a lot of people kind of first heard of me and heard of us, I guess. And Queltec did Form 1 parts and solvent traps, the definitely not a suppressor, solvent trap kits and tools.
First suppressor I ever owned was a Form 1 suppressor pre-COVID. It was a hilariously bad suppressor, but kind of fun. You got to do your own thing with it.
Yeah, it was just like building, it was just like the 80% builders and stuff like that you could do at home. But before suppressors with some extra legal jargon in there and stuff. So we did that. We did that for several years, and it went really well, and we had some good designs. And then the ATF started cracking down on the Form 1 stuff and making it harder and harder for people to build suppressors themselves at home legally. And, at that point, we were like, well, we already have the machines and we already have the tools and we already have the knowledge. So let's like try making a suppressor company and see how it goes. And at the time, we still had our real jobs. When I say we, I'm talking about me and John, who's the other half owner of Otter Creek. We still had our real jobs, and we didn't really have much expectations. We were just like, we'll make a couple suppressors and we'll sell them to friends and family and coworkers and people we meet at the range, and be some extra side money for vacations to families and stuff like that. And um, after about 2 years, I guess, of running the business like that as a side job, it started taking off enough to where we were like, shit, maybe we can do this as our actual job. And so I quit my job first and started running Otter Creek full time. And I think that was when I quit my job and started running Otter Creek full time was 2021 or 2022. And I've just been doing that full time since.
Heck yeah, awesome. That's kind of an interesting start. How was the whole COVID switch over? There was like a whole new wave of gun owners and just a influx of cash into the industry, right? Where it basically exploded overnight. Inversely, as everything else was collapsing, the gun industry was putting up record numbers like year after year for like 3 years straight, basically. So if there's a time to start a company, it's in that like little window, right?
Yeah, we were just a little bit outside of that window on the back end. We ran Queltec all through COVID, but we saw the same thing with Queltec. Just exploding interest, people building themselves at home, stuff like that. When we applied for the official FFL and made Otter Creek a company, it was right kind of on the tail end of COVID, and we were coming at the end, so we didn't get the big explosion on the Otter Creek side, but we got it on the Queltec side, and it definitely helped, like because we weren't starting a company from scratch. Essentially, we had the money and machinery that we
Know-how,
the
yeah.
last company, yeah,
Mhm.
and so that was definitely a big help.
Well, I mean, the way that I got acquainted with you guys was the Polo K, essentially, right? When that came out, it was one of the best value, honestly, still one of the best value suppressors on the market. Good sound performance, good size, generally all of the features you would want. Super high back pressure, though, right?
Yeah,
That's the complaint everybody has, is that it's a traditionally baffled can, much like every other can, circa 10 years ago. Decent sound performance, but super high back pressure. But good value proposition, like a really good value proposition. Like there was a while where I saw them on sale from certain distributors for like 475, right?
hmm
Which puts them at like the lowest end. So
yeah.
you have a background in machining and designing, or how does that even work? As somebody who is not an engineer, knows nothing about suppressors, do you guys just get together and you're like, I don't know, this looks cool. Like, the Maxim baffles haven't changed much in the last 150 years. So we're just going to put traditionally styled baffles in a can and call it a day, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of where some people hate on Huxworks, but you have to give Huxworks credit for how much they have single-handedly changed the entire industry and what consumers demand and for products in the modern day. Um, some people don't know this, but Huxworks used to be called OSS.
Yep, that's how I still remember them, as those as.
Yeah, they did the rebrand to Huxworks like I don't know 5-6 years ago. Um, but so when the Polo K came out, which it's crazy to say was almost 5 or 6 years ago now,
Mhm.
that's kind of where the market was. Like everything you had, like your Surefire RC2s, your YHM turbos, the Polo, the
Yep.
Thunder Beast stuff, the Silencer Co stuff. Everything was high back pressure, and then you had Hux, who or OSS at the time, and no offense to them, at the time, the OSS suppressors were really bad. I mean, they were low back pressure, but they were really loud.
Well,
And
that's the thing that they were good at, though, was just low
yeah,
back pressure. Like even now, people still call the Flow 556K like a blast diverter, basically,
yeah,
right?
no, the Flow 556K is awesome, and so is the Flow 762. But so 5 6 years ago, low back pressure had a really bad name and a really bad reputation, and that's because the only people doing it were OSS, and they weren't doing it very well. Um, but over the last 5 to 6 years, they stayed at it and they made tremendous strides. And they had the forethought to patent the term flow through. That's why you don't see any other companies saying flow through in their marketing, is because we can get
Right.
sued if we do. So we have,
Reduced blowback. You'll see
yeah,
like some variation of the same term in there,
yeah,
reduced flow. Yeah, but I hate it when somebody patents it. Like, it's like 2011 with staccato.
right.
Everybody knows it's a 2011, but you can't
You
actually
can't
call it
say
a
it.
2011. Yeah, exactly.
So they had that term trademarked and they stayed with it, and they rebranded to Hux, and they made huge product improvements, and are still making big product improvements, like with the Black Magic and some of the new stuff they're coming out with. But over the last 5 to 6 years, they in my opinion, Hux single handedly changed the narrative to from flow through sucks, flow through's loud, to like now everybody wants a flow through can, and low back and high back pressure can suck. And in my opinion, Hux has been single handedly responsible for that, and they've done a great job. So the Polo K definitely, like now in 2026, is outdated from where the market was 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh yeah. Well, so when it comes to designing, like, did you guys have an engineering background, or did you guys just hire a flow dynamics person to handle like suppressor design, or was it literally just something that you guys thought up and put together and it magically sounded pretty good?
So my background isn't in any kind of engineering. That's John. So John does not like doing interviews. He does not like talking to people. He's kind of like the background guy,
Sure.
but he does what he is the smart one between the two of us.
So you're the pretty face, he's the brains.
Debatable on that, but yeah. So he is an actual engineer. Went to engineering school. After engineering school, he started working for a company called Neff Robotics, and he designed automation and robotic systems. And then he also did some work for the Department of Naval Warfare, working on some of their nuclear submarines, for some of the automation systems that they have on their nuclear submarines. So he's done some really cool stuff. He does all the smart guy stuff. And then so my background was in manufacturing. I come from the automotive manufacturing world. Worked for Toyota for 7 8 years before Otter Creek. And Toyota, in my opinion, has the best manufacturing in the world. They just have it figured out. So being able to see all that and kind of, you know, take some of those processes and apply it to what we do with his knowledge of engineering and design, just kind of worked well.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, that seems like a good pairing, honestly. Somebody who knows how to manufacture things and somebody who knows like how to actually design a product and engineer a product to, meet certain criteria or to fit a goal. Right? Actually a good dynamic duo there.
Yeah.
Now, moving on from like your start as like a Form 1 company, morphing into Otter Creek Labs, Polo K, Polo 30, kind of like your bread and butter offerings for a while. Fast forward, and also like the AIMS 5, of course, or OCM 5. Moving forward to 2026, everybody wants low back pressure, right?
Mhm.
Everybody wants flow through design. Everybody wants basically, I mean, everybody is like copy and pasting the same design and doing some iteration of apparently cat cans, right? That's the new one that everybody's
Yeah.
copy and pasting with some of the other designs that are out there, allegedly. Of course, we're not entirely sure about that, but from your guys' perspective, you guys have come out with a couple of infinity cans and the one you guys just released, the OCM 6. Why don't you talk about like your new offerings and like the new design philosophy of the products coming out in the future?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, that's why we're not really like currently developing any more Polo K esque products. Um, as time goes on, you learn to do things better. The market changes, what people want changes, pricing changes. So just the suppressors we're designing today are just made to be more up to par with what customers expect today. The lower back pressure, 3D printed, just more modern products. You know,
Mhm.
anybody who says that anybody who says that you can look back 5 6 years ago and be like, damn, I wish I'd have done that differently. Like, everybody has moments like that. You just learn as you go, and like our processes today and our design methods today are different just as we've learned to do things better.
Sure. Well, I know a lot of people who still love the Polo K. It's a lot of people's first suppressor
Mhm.
because it was easy enough to get into in terms of price and whatnot. Are you guys planning on coming out with a reduced back pressure version of that can? Like, I know we talked about YHM a little bit, but YHM was also like, they were my first cans, were YHM. I got a
Yeah.
Resonator K and a Turbo K, which are kind of like in that same genre. And YHM hasn't moved forward quite as much as you guys have with like the Infinity or some of the other stuff, but they have come out with reduced back pressure versions of their cans, which are like a little bit better. They're not flow through by any means, but they do have some reduced back pressure. Is there any ideas for that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, we still sell 20 to 1 polonium Ks compared to the new Infinities and stuff like that. That's just still what people are buying. And so as long as people want them, which it's pretty clear they do, we make over 1,000 polonium Ks a week, and people buy them. Like, it's crazy. I don't know. We ask ourselves all the time, like, who the hell is buying all these suppressors? Because people are just buying them as fast as we can make them, and we don't sell nearly as many Infinities. But anyway, to your original question, I don't know if you saw. Did you see Canic recently came out with a suppressor line?
I have seen their suppressor line, not in person, just like floating around on the interweb somewhere.
Yeah. Well, it's the Canic Void, and then like on the package and the description and everything, it'll say powered by Otter Creek Labs.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Um, and so, kind of the story behind that has to do with what you were asking about, like improving the Polo K. Um, about 2 years ago, we could kind of see where the market was going, and that more and more people were wanting a lower back pressure product compared to what the Polo K was.
Mhm.
So we were like, okay, we need to sit down and we need to start now, because we really take our time designing stuff. We're like, we need to start now designing a second generation of polonium to have it ready, a year and a half, 2 years from now. Um, so we started that process, and it was going really well. And then Canic approached us, and they said, hey, we're wanting to enter the suppressor market. They gave us a list of requirements, what they wanted to see, and what they didn't want to see, stuff like that. They basically just spec'd it out. And it was almost like they knew we were developing the Polonium Gen 2, because everything that they were asking for, everything they wanted matched like this product we already had. And it was kind of a secret. We hadn't told anybody about it. Um, so we sent them one. We were like, here's this Gen 2 Polonium we've been developing, and it matches everything you all want. If you all like it, you can sell it as a Canic suppressor, and we'll keep selling our polonium as Otter Creek suppressors. And so that's kind of what ended up happening. The Canic Void, Canic Void 30, and Canic Void K are essentially more modern renditions of the poloniums.
Interesting. I didn't quite realize that. So you guys are selling still 1,000 a week basically of your polonium Ks. And you
Yeah.
guys have enough manufacturing overhead to also sell a manufacturer and sell a completely another product line for another company. So you
Hmm.
have that much manufacturing overrun. Because to me, 1,000 suppressors a week, like you can do the math pretty easily. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. We
that's a
sold
that's an insane amount of volume.
in 2025. We sold around 52,000 suppressors. Both that includes, because we do OEM for some companies are weird about it. Some companies don't want to know people are OEMing for them, and some do. Canic has given us full permission to tell anybody that we OEM for them, but we OEM for several other companies as well.
Mhm.
So that 52,000 includes both Otter Creek branded products and OEM branded suppressors for
Okay.
2025. And then 2026, we're halfway through the year and we're already at 40,000 so far this year in 2026. We're aiming for 70 to 80,000 by the end of the year. So the volume of suppressors that we put out, a lot of people don't realize that we put that many suppressors out, but it's a pretty crazy amount.
No, that is a huge amount, more than I would have suspected. Now in 2026, we're a little bit over halfway through now. We did have the $0 tax stamp early this year, so you guys have seen what, a 30% increase over last year with the
Yeah.
addition of the $0 tax stamp, basically.
Yeah, for sure. It's been awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but was there a noticeable decline post 2024 election of Trump? Because most other companies in the industry are experiencing the Trump slump 2.0, much like his original term, right? 2-3
Right.
years into it, things start to slow down, things start to get settled, which in the gun industry, like panic sells, fear sells, like COVID was great for business. And then inversely, you have COVID highs, and then Trump gets back in, and then it just collapses, right? So all of these companies who expanded new product lines, new manufacturing capabilities, brought in more workers. Suddenly, we've seen like a half dozen firearm companies close doors over the last 12 months or so because there's just not enough business to keep them afloat in the way that they were, or they're being sold off or, moved around and migrated and whatnot. But for you guys, for suppressor companies, it's like business is
Yeah.
really good right now,
I don't think, just from my point of view, that suppressor companies have ever really dealt with the fluctuation in political climates as much as gun companies have, especially in like the 2023 2024 era, going up or down, because suppressors have never really been something until nowadays. Like nowadays you can, but back then they weren't really something you could impulse buy or just go into a gun store and buy. Like guns and ammo, you can just walk in there, buy one, walk out that day. If you saw one on the shelf you like, you could impulse buy it. But suppressors have never really been that way. It's more of a process and a waiting period. And so people seem to take their time more when suppressor shopping versus gun shopping. Like they do a lot more research into what suppressor they're going to buy than to what gun they're going to buy. And so just because of that, because it's not really something you can impulse buy and it's more of a planning period, I don't think they've ever suffered as much as the rest of the industry has from big swings in sales like that.
Well, I know for me personally, like the amount of suppressors that I've been offered, like this is something that also happened in the suppressor industry, is that you now have like 200 new suppressor companies. Like at SHOT Show this year, I forget the exact number, but somebody told me there was like 112 new
Yeah.
suppressor companies like showing off suppressors here and there and whatnot. And it's like we're gonna see saturation at some point. Like the market is gonna peak at some point. It is still new. It is still like an expansive area where people are trying to cram into as fast as possible. But it will reach saturation at some point. And it looks like you guys are doing a pretty insane amount of volume. Like I wasn't expecting that. Now,
Yeah.
kind of tailing off of that. So you have your own product lines, which you're selling a lot of. You're manufacturing for other people like Canic and some other guys. Do you is it insulting if I'm like, hey, sorry, I'm not going to buy your Polo K. I'm going to go and buy the Void 556K since it's
No.
generally you're still making it, you're still getting a cut of it, obviously. But I'm like, it's the Gen 2 reduced back pressure version, kind of like the updated one
No.
that's actually a little better, even though it has the Canic brand on it.
Yeah, no, that doesn't bother us at all. And if it did bother me, I wouldn't present it in that way. I wouldn't say like, hey, the Canic Gen 2 over there, the Canic is basically a Gen 2 polonium. Like kind of be setting myself up for failure if I cared about that.
Well, but it's like,
no.
do you feel bad selling the Polo K when you know there's like almost a better version of it that's on the Canic website instead of yours, or on Silencer Shop or whatever it ends up being?
Not necessarily, because there's pros and cons to both, and they're both at different price points.
I guess that's fair.
The Canex suppressors are 125 to $150 more, and in this economy, that makes a big difference to some people. And then the Canex suppressors do not have when you get higher flow rate like that, you do lose some flash suppression. So if you're looking for higher flash suppression, shooting at night vision, and stuff like that, the poloniums do a little bit better. The poloniums are also a little bit lighter. So the poloniums are lighter, cheaper, and have better flash suppression. The voids are less back pressure and a little bit more modular. So there's pros and cons to both, and they're both at different price points. So I think you can still justify it.
Sure. Well, I mean, especially if you can find like again the polo case for like sub 500. Like
Right.
again, I've seen them floating around for that, which is again pretty much a steal because it used to be, at least for a little while, with the $200 tax stamp, that you could find like YHM cans for like 350 or something. And it seems like almost all of the mainstays of the suppressor industry have raised their prices, right? As demand has increased. And you're seeing a couple companies come in and fill like the budget realm. Like I don't know if you're familiar with like tuna cans or some of these other
Mhm.
guys that are like trying to flood the market with like, 299 cans and stuff like that where they're super budget. But for you guys, I mean, you're still obviously in a relatively good spot, especially considering no tax stamp on the
Yeah.
stuff, right? So you're a very attractive option in that way.
And what we've seen, and it makes sense if you think about it on a percentage basis, is the $0 tax stamp has affected the budget products and the budget brands a lot more than it has the higher end brands and more expensive products. Because if you were going to buy a $1,600 Surefire or an $1,800 Knights to begin with, you probably didn't really care that much about $200.
Right.
It's 5% of the cost of the can. But if you were looking at like a 450, $500 suppressor, and that was your budget to begin with, $200, that's almost 50% of the cost of the suppressor. So I think, and I feel like sometimes it's hard to really think about because it sucks, but the vast majority of Americans are in that 450, 500, $600 pricing point. The economy is terrible. Inflation has gone crazy. The prices of everything has gone up, but
Mhm.
people's wages haven't gone up in a proportional amount and haven't kept up with it. So there's definitely more people buying $500, $600 suppressors than there is, $1,800, $2,000 suppressors.
Well, I think there is something about that price point where it is the sweet spot. Like even for like everything. It's like what's a budget handgun go for? 400, $600. What's a budget rifle go for? $400 to $600, right?
Mhm.
So you're kind of right in line with somebody who's looking like, do I get a PSA Freedom rifle? Do I get a Ruger 5.56? Do I get a Smith and Wesson Sport 3? Like that, it's kind of in that same genre of a attainable purchase for most people without going above and beyond to like, a Hux or an RC4, which is like $1,400. And it's like, yeah, sure, it's good, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah. And especially if you have multiple, it's like you said, it's the value proposition. Like, you could spend $500 on this, or you could spend $1,000 on this. And, is the $1,000 one better? Yeah, you usually do get what you pay for, but we're talking maybe, 5, 10% better, or you could have two of them for the same price. So it's that proposition for a lot of people, especially if you're looking to outfit multiple guns.
Yeah. Well, kind of speaking on that same lineup, so your OCM6 just came out. It's
Mhm.
a hybrid design. So
Yep.
you guys have been in the manufacturing game for a while with non 3D printed parts. But how has that transition process been to now having some 3D printing, some traditionally manufactured cans, and how has that complicated things, so to speak?
On the OCM6 specifically, so we had the OCM5, and the OCM5 was a machined and welded baffle stack. And then the baffle stack inside was 17-4 steel, and then the outer housing was titanium. Well, you can't weld 17-4 steel and titanium together. Um, so on the OCM5 and the OCM6, both, there is a threaded joint inside the suppressor where the baffle stack threads into the end cap and then it gets pinned and welded, similar to how you would pin and weld a muzzle device on a barrel or something, but it's the baffle stack being pinned and welded inside the suppressor. So it was already made like that originally. And so when we switched over to the more hybrid design of 3D printed on the inside and machined on the outside, we just were able to keep that same construction and manufacture it the same way. So it hasn't been that big of a changeover.
Interesting. Now, do you expect to use more 3D printing going forward? Because I know, like, again, it's one of those things where everybody and their mom has come out with a new suppressor that is 3D printed and magically looks like everybody else's 3D printed suppressors, and they're all roughly $1,000. Is that something you guys are looking at doing? Like, hey, here's our new fully 3D printed, whatever the name has to be. This is the new cool thing that we're doing. And spoiler alert, it's also about $1,000.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're working on several products right now, and they're all 3D printed. Our goal is to have a budget oriented line and then a higher end, more premium line. So, like the poloniums, lithiums, and hydrogens, those are our more budget oriented line. And so now we're kind of into the point where we're filling out our higher end line with like the Infinities and the Universe and the Milkman and the OCM6. Kind of like a Toyota Lexus situation, the poloniums and stuff for the Toyota, the Infinities and stuff for the Lexus. They're both made by the same company, but you have different pricing tiers.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's good to see. Do you guys think that 3D printing is going to be the mainstay, or is that more of a fad? Because I'm always curious about that. Because obviously it has its advantages. You can do really wacky, weird things with it, but there are some technical limitations, some complexities that it adds, right? I mean, not to name names, but like, what's that one? The Tisha, right? Where they were coming out with the print beds and the resolution was awful. They were cracking, they were breaking. Like, if you're not doing it right, it can be a huge headache.
I feel terrible for the Saw guys about that. I'm friends with them, and I will defend them on that situation until the day I die. So what happened there, and I only know this because so most companies don't 3D print in house. Some do, some don't. We do not. We have a contract print shop that prints our stuff. But we are shopping for, actually, we've already bought one. It's going to be delivered next month. But we were shopping for a printer, and we ran across this company, and they claimed that their machine was the only machine that you didn't have to do any kind of post-process stress relieving when you got done printing. So suppressors get printed, and then they go into this big vacuum sealed oven that sucks all the air out and stress relieves them. And the ovens themselves that do the stress relieving are $300,000 to $400,000. They're very expensive ovens. And so this company,
for just an oven.
Yeah, for just an oven. So these companies that make these 3D printed machines, this company said, we'll buy our 3D printing machine because we're the only 3D printing machine right now who, once they're done printing, you don't have to put them in one of those $400,000 ovens. So Saul bought that machine, and I only know this because we got the same sales pitch. And so Saul bought that machine, and then that turns out not to be true. They still need to be fucking stress relieved, just like all the other machines. So they were just manufacturing suppressors how they were told by the company that made the printer that they could be manufactured, and then they had all these problems because that's what they were told. And I told the engineer at Saul, and I said, "Hey, buddy, no offense, but better fucking you than me," because that was about to be me too, because I was buying the same machine thinking the same damn thing. So, as much as it sucks, I'm glad we figured that out.
Sorry, Stealth Additive Works. Glad you did that instead of me, though, bro.
Yeah, because we were getting ready to do the same thing, and that could have just as easily been us. And so that really sucks for them. But they've got it worked out, and they've got it going now.
Well, so I mean, it sounds like they need to maybe take it up with the their purchasing agreement or something like that.
Yeah, I
sold them a
know.
false advertisement or something like that. Maybe they need to hire a lawyer, okay? Because that's a lot of money down the tubes. Because those things aren't cheap either, right? I mean, a printing
No.
machine is what, a quarter million, $500,000?
Uh, for that one that they're using, 750,000 to a million. Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
and that's
then
just startup costs without any other materials or anything. Yeah.
yeah,
Damn.
and you kind of touched on it earlier about all 3D printers being about all 3D printed suppressors being about the same price, and that's why. So if you want to be printing in house, you got to have $1 million printer. And then you have to have a $400,000 stress relieving oven, and then you have to have to $150,000 lathe, and then you have to have an EDM or a giant bandsaw. There's another, $20,000 to $30,000 depending on what you go on. So you're looking at almost $2 million in startup costs to get started printing in house.
Right.
Whereas that's why, like, I'd say 90% of the printed suppressors on the market are printed in the same 4 or 5 shops, and
That's the
they're
same
all
thing that I've heard as well. But
yeah,
I don't want to get too trapped down that rabbit hole because it's like the same thing where people say that, there's only 3 companies that actually manufacture like lowers or upper receivers in the AR industry. Right. So it's one of those things that it gets repeated often enough that it's just like that it's just like the truth. It's just what
yeah.
everybody
There's
believes. Right.
there's a
But
lot
with
of truth
3D
to it.
printed suppressors, it's true that it's like these are done by companies that aren't into firearms per se, but they have the 3D printing capability, and then
Mhm.
suppressor companies contract them to make all of their parts, which is why the price is so similar because spoiler
Right.
alert, same materials,
Yeah.
same designs, same printers. It's like there's not a lot of ways to play with the cost if you want to make any money at all, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So they're all priced very similar. If you have your own 3D printing, like if you have your own in-house setup, you can offer them pretty cheap because, like, if you take away the cost of just the machine, like say you take away the machine cost and you just look at, manufacturing cost and maintenance and upkeep from there on, 3D printing is actually cheaper than traditional machining because you're just using the material that you need. You got to think, like, if you make it, like, say you're machining a polonium, right? It's got to start as a
Mhm.
bar,
Right.
and you machine all that material away. Well, you've just wasted 90% and material is priced by the pound.
Oh, no,
So
I,
you
I
just
used to
wait.
work in the steel industry for a while, and
Yeah,
we had, 6 CNC machines and cutting saws and honings and all the other stuff that we would do to stuff for that. So, I mean, I get that. Yeah, there's a lot of waste in terms of material and
right.
whatnot, which is why 3D
Yes.
printing is so attractive to these people.
Right. Yeah. So you buy material by the pound and then you machine 90% of it away and throw it in a recycling bin and get pennies on the dollar back for it versus 3D printing, you just pay for the powder by the weight and then you don't have any waste. So if you can get past the startup costs and pay it off, then it's very attractive from there on.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, is the volume off of one of these printers enough to do what you do? Right?
No.
Because obviously, traditional manufacturing, you already got the machines, you're already doing it. You're kicking out 1,000 suppressors a week, which is a lot, 150 a day, roughly speaking. Can a printer plus oven keep up with 150 a day? Like, that's a lot, right?
Right. No. The machine we bought was $750,000 for just the printer, and it can print 20 suppressors every 24 hours. So
Ooh.
you're looking at it making 100 suppressors a week. It'd take a long time to pay it off. You'd have to have, a lot of these printing companies, they have 20 of these things sitting there. Really, the biggest reason that we wanted it is for prototyping and development.
Hmm.
So, when we're wanting to, like, let's take the Infinity for example. Before we arrived at a final product for the Infinity, we made 150 individual prototypes, each one of them with minor tweaks. We have to take that prototype, we have to send it to a print company. When you're just getting a one-off prototype ran, they way upcharge it versus if you're having 1,000 of them ran.
Hmm.
So we were paying between $800 and $1,000 per prototype we had made, um, and then it would take 3-4 weeks to come in. So at that point, it's taken you a year and a half to 2 years and $200,000 to prototype one product. So we want our in-house printer just so we can develop new products faster is really our only motivation. It's not going to be used for production work because it can't keep up with the volume that we're producing anyway.
So let me see if I get this right. You're using it to prototype stuff
Mhm.
and then still exporting or having somebody else do your actual printing work because you don't want to buy 20 of these things, right?
Yep.
You want something on hand that you can make some stuff with very quickly, do A, B, C, D testing, whatever it might be, fix your designs, finalize them on your own machines, and then just send the finalized print to a printout somewhere and they do all the actual work for you.
Yeah, that's the plan. We're not bringing production 3D printing in house anytime soon because we added up how much it would cost. It'd be 15 to 20 million dollars if we wanted to bring all of our 3D printed production in house. Or we can just accept that on our 3D printed products we're gonna make less money, and making a little bit of money to me is better than spending 20 million. So we're just gonna prototype them and keep doing it that way for now.
Well, can you use it on the side for other things? Like, is there
Mhm.
some level of production you can get
Yeah,
out of it, like for smaller parts and whatnot? Because
yeah, and we've talked about
if a
that.
full suppressor takes too long, can you use it to make like, I don't know, really complex mounts or adapters or whatever it might be and spit those out relatively quickly?
Yeah, and we've talked about that. We're having meetings and discussions all just around that. Is if it's not prototyping something at that moment, what can we use it for? That's going to make us a little bit of money and be able to keep up with whatever production we want to do with it. So we're trying to come up with some ideas to just run random parts,
Mhm.
whether it be for us or from an OEM standpoint. Like
Yeah.
we usually
Well, I
talked
mean,
about that, like some of these
it,
OEM companies.
yeah, it's $1.2 million you got sitting there in
Right.
terms of oven and printer. So you got to do something with it. Running a couple prototypes a week probably isn't going to save you that much money
Yeah.
in the long run. Like if you saved $1,000 a week on prototypes, like you're looking at like 20 years in the future before that pays off.
Yes.
That's a long ROI.
I'm not even worried about the ROI or the money as much as I am the speed of things. We saw this with the Infinity. So anytime we develop a product, we sit down and we look at a benchmark. So like say we're gonna make I'll use a 45 suppressor as example because we're designing one right now. We want to make a 45 ACP suppressor. We look at what's on the market. We buy 10, 20 different suppressors that are out there, and we determine what 45 suppressor we think is the best suppressor. um, and then we test against it and make a prototype and test against it and make a prototype and test against it and just kind of keep doing that until we beat it, and in our opinion have a better product. Well, because it takes so long to have one-off prototypes ran by a third-party shop, by the time that we fucking finished the Infinity, there was already two suppressors on the market that were better than the one that we'd been testing against for 2 years. So it's like
Right.
we kind of missed our window to be the best because it took so long.
So by bringing products to market faster, that's where you make your money, right?
Yeah.
Because if you could have sold the Infinity 18 months earlier, well, that's going to cut out other products on the market that are now 2 years on beating your product. They're new, they're updated, while you're still, waiting on somebody who doesn't care about you, who just took, a tiny one-off job, which by the way, these companies don't care about. As somebody who used to, work and do sales in a machine shop, like one-off customers are like peons. Why am I doing that when I can do Terex parts for 100 grand a day? Right? Like I don't care about this one guy calling me for a part. Who cares, bro? I'm making sure that my big customers are happy.
Yeah. The suppressor that comes out second always has the advantage of the suppressor that came out first in terms of performance, because if a suppressor that's coming out next year, they have a full year to test against everything on the market right now. So when you come out with something, as soon as you come out with something, there's another company that's going to be testing against your product to try and beat it and make a better product. So you have a small window of time when you're going to have the best product. But then in terms of coming out with a product sooner, like the polonium, for example, there's been a lot of companies that have tried to come out with what they call the polonium killer, or like the suppressor or gun companies trying to come out with what they call the Glock killer. Glock's been around so long and it's such a namestay, like you're not going to kill it. It is what it is. So, you have, if you come out first, you have that time where you're the name everybody's talking about and you're getting that notoriety. But if you come out second, you have the advantage of making a better product. So it's
Right.
the balancing act.
Now, when it comes to that sort of thing, how do you guys do your actual testing for other products, right? Because suppressors, like, if you don't know any better, if you're just like listening to them with your ears, like it's basically worthless. Like, ooh, that sounds good to me. Ooh, I really like that tone, right? I love that when everybody used to say like tone, like it has a really nice tone. I still don't know what that means, right? Nobody's ever been able to articulate what tone means with a suppressor. But somebody like Pew Science, who I think everybody is basically chasing, right? Everybody wants their spot on the leaderboard, which to me is funny. I don't know the guy. I don't have anything against the guy, but it is so funny to me that he has essentially cornered the market almost in terms of suppressor ratings. Like, I will get so many comments anytime I talk about any suppressor on the show, anybody that releases a new one. You go to any comment section anywhere about any suppressor, it's, I don't care until it's on Pew Science. I'm not going to buy it until it's on Pew Science. Until it has a number and a ranking next to it, I don't care about it, okay? See me, when it's on Pew Science, basically. Now, you guys have used Pew Science.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you feel like that helps or hurts, your product, depending on where it ranks?
I don't know, because it's so subjective and there's so many different ways a suppressor can be ranked. Starting off when we were a new company, Pew Science helped us tremendously because it's really kind of, I look at it as the great equalizer. It's a level playing field for everybody. So when we came out with the polonium in 2021, we were a pretty new company. If we would have came out and said, hey, buy this polonium, it's quieter than a Surefire RC2, everybody would say we're full of shit and we're lying and all this kind of stuff. Or you can send it to Pew Science and you can prove that it's quieter than an RC2. So it kind of gives these companies that have no real name or no real leverage a more even playing field with the big guys. And that example alone should prove that, because people think that people pay him off, or he takes bribes or whatever. But how
it is
would
quite expensive, right?
it is, but how would us, a brand new company who's nobody has ever heard of, possibly have enough money to bribe him to say our product was better than Surefire?
Well,
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying it levels the playing field from my perspective.
Well, I think what people are complaining about is it ends up being a battle of obscurity in a way, where because his methodologies are proprietary, it's kind of unverifiable in a way, right? His ranking system, because it is a proprietary formula that I believe he does not make public. So for instance, even if I had like $1 million worth of testing equipment, I couldn't necessarily replicate his numbers and how he got to them. So while I'm not necessarily accusing him of anything, he has been sued before for several different things in the past when it comes to like industrial espionage and things like that. So I mean, there are rumors out there that you can spend more money, you can learn insider secrets from other people if you ask him or whatnot. And so for me, it's like, who watches the watcher, right? If everybody is depending on one guy for their numbers, and companies are paying him somewhere between $8,000 and $25,000 per can to do testing on, there's so much money involved, like an insane amount of money. Like, you guys are selling 1,000 cans a day. That's a lot of money. And Pew Science rankings hold a lot of weight. So there's incentive and there's possibility for a little bit of cheating or fudging. And again, when it's proprietary formulas and we don't know what goes into all of that stuff, there's just a little room for error, right?
I can see both sides of it. To play devil's advocate here, you know, Pew Science is a business, and the purpose of any business is to make money. And so, if I had a business that was around testing and doing what he does, I probably wouldn't want to share my algorithm either. Um, but what I can say is, like, if you go to his website and you look at the Pew Science reports, all those charts that he puts out, with the frequency and the hertz and the time in milliseconds and the decibels, all that kind of stuff, the charts that he puts out are not proprietary. If you have the right equipment, you can get all of the same raw data that he publishes, because we do it. We have a pulse system, and then we use AHA, which it's, if you want to Google it, it's AHAAH. Um, it's the algorithm that the U.S. Army and the military go by nowadays for hearing damage assessment. Um, the Pew Science algorithm is similar. He's doing similar stuff, but with a proprietary number. Um, so there is precedence to it, and there is ways to verify the raw data that he puts out. But how he arrives at his number that people obsess over, that is proprietary. But the raw data is not, and that can be verified. About all I can say about it is, I trust him, because I can verify the raw data. Um, this Call it blind faith. I don't know. Everybody's going to be in a different camp, but
I mean, I'll take your word for it that the raw data matches up, right? I'm not an engineer. All that stuff, way above my pay grade. It takes people way smarter than me to figure all that stuff out. My thing is, it is funny that it's kind of in the name. It's Pew Science, but it's proprietary, and there's no way to actually like peer review or third party test, because it is like proprietary in some ways. And there's so many variables that go into that stuff, right? So, like, for instance, I don't always understand the testing methodology, like why certain cans are tested on different guns, right? So, like, if one can is tested on an M4A1 and one is tested on a Mark 18, well, they're not gonna perform exactly the same, right? Now, some cans are optimized for this, some are optimized for that. But to me, it's like, just by switching the test platform, I can make that can perform better or worse, right? Because I've changed one of the variables, right? I could be using different ammunition. I could be using really, really hot ammo for that. There's things that I could do on the testing side where nobody else is going to know, and it's just going to change the numbers a little bit. Even if it's public, you might have to like dig into the data to figure out why did this can perform better or worse, right? If that makes sense.
yeah, no, I understand that completely, and that's why I said, I understand both sides of it. It's I've known Jay for a long time, and I trust him, and I don't believe he's doing things like that, because I can verify the raw data, and I've done it many times. Actually, just a recent report he put out for us. He said, "Hey, I saw something weird, kind of an abnormality in this raw data. Can you sample this test this way with your equipment and see if you can see the same abnormality in the raw data?" And so we went out for a day and we tested it, and we did see it. And I said, "Yeah, on the same host, I'm seeing that same thing." And it's the waveforms and stuff. You got to have a high-end meter. You have to have the AHA software, which is, it's expensive to get a testing set up to be able to verify Jay's raw data. It's going to cost a company between $50,000 and $75,000 for all the equipment and software that they need to be able to repeat it. But it can be repeated.
Right. Well, so what do you think about other companies, right, love and or hate of Pew Science? Because again, to me, let's just for the sake of argument, say all of the stuff is perfect, above board, great, and the numbers are legit. So what do you think about other companies coming in and either just outright bypassing the Pew Science stuff and being like, no, we're never sending Jay a can, we're not spending a dime on any of his testing, on any of his, reports or anything else like that. And the people, I mean, I don't want to bring up people specifically, but who have, doubted some of his claims in the past, right? Because obviously from my perspective, I know that there is weight behind his rankings because that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants that number next to it. But there are certain companies, whether it's, I don't know, I'm just going to throw out Dead Air or something like that, who's like, oh, no, we don't care. We're not going to do that, or Griffin or whatever it is. And we're just going to move on and ignore that and put out our own, decibel numbers or third party testings or whatnot. Because there's really not any competition with Pew Science. He basically has a corner on that side of the market.
Now, and I don't agree with that. I mean, I'm agreeing with you, but I don't agree that. I don't, and I've told Jay this, and I mean nothing by this. Jay's my friend. I don't think anybody should have a corner on data, or anybody should have a corner on testing. I think that if you had 4 or 5 companies that were doing the same thing Pew Science does, that would be a positive thing. I don't think that would be a negative thing at all. I think when anybody has something cornered that leaves vulnerabilities for doubt, like you have, or doubt for corruption, even if he's not doing anything wrong, and even if everything is above board, anytime somebody has something cornered, there's going to be those assumptions. Just nobody's really stepped up and done it, and it's hard to, because to have all the right equipment, you got to kind of be involved in the industry. So to have true unbiased data and an unbiased testing, it has to be somebody who has no history in the industry. They've never worked at any gun company. They don't have any friends, family, whatever, working at this gun company. It has to be just somebody just totally unbiased putting out data. And that's really hard to find, but I don't think it would be a negative thing if we had 5 companies doing that.
That's what everybody's curious about, because there's only one person doing it, essentially. Imagine if you did get somebody else who's like, you know what, fine, I'm going to do the Pew Science thing, but I'm going to charge half as much money. I'm just going to come in, undercut the market. Still a lot of money, by the way. I'm going to charge half as much, and then you have a second data point. And to me, it's always interesting, because we have, like, you've heard of, like, the replication crisis, where, like, most scientific studies can't actually be replicated. So most scientific studies are actually worthless because they're just not able to replicate them, meaning that, like, the methodology or foundation is just off, basically, right? So if you only have one source for all of this info and it holds a lot of weight, if we have a second source come in and it starts coming to wildly different rankings or numbers or performance, whatever it might be, it's like there's a flaw here at the foundation somewhere, which would be very interesting to me personally. Now, it could also be really boring, where you get a second source and it's like, almost one for one the same. That would be like, okay, well, hey, guess what? All the numbers are correct. There's no fudging going on. It's validated by a second, third party, or fourth party source in this case, and it looks good to go. But again, we just don't have that.
Yeah, no, I think that would be a good thing. And, like, the kind of, there's the Sound Summit too that Thunder Beast puts on, and there's some YouTubers that have their own decibel meters, and I know I'm not going to say their names or do any spoilers, but I know there's 2 other companies right now that are working on, I won't say being a competitor of Pew Science, but doing Pew Science like things. I make my products to be good. So, like, I don't give a shit where you're testing, who's doing the testing, what testing method you're doing. I'll show up and I'll have my stuff tested and we'll kick ass. We might not always win, but we'll do really well. So, I don't care who's doing the testing. I'm open to having stuff tested wherever, by whoever, anytime. And I think more people testing, as long as it's done properly, is a good thing.
Well, that's a good mentality to have on the manufacturer's part, because that shows that you have some level of confidence in your own product, which, as me, I'm the consumer. I'm the guy looking to spend money. The guy who's, like, willing to put their can in the arena, so to speak. It's a boon to you, basically, right? You're willing to put your cans out there to be tested, whereas some other companies are less than willing to do so. Maybe rightfully or wrongfully so, right? But before we let you get out of here, I kind of wanted to talk about this as well. So we've seen the suppressor rush. Okay, 2026, no tax on suppressors. We have the 3D printing craze essentially, with only a few print houses doing it. Everybody's kind of just copy and pasting some reduced flow can. How do you actually differentiate yourself in the market, right? Because so many other competitors out there, it's like, here's our roughly $1,000 can. It's got relatively reduced back pressure. It's got decent sound characteristics, and it's okay at flash. It's like, how do you actually make something truly better or unique, right? Because I think if I have to think of like the two most unique suppressors on the market right now, not saying the best, but the two most unique ones are like the Tisha, because the claims of the Tisha, super small, relatively lightweight, insane numbers, basically, right? For its size and weight, like actually insane numbers. Like it's 2.5 times more efficient per volume than like a cat white bread, which on paper is like insane. And then you have like the ambient arms, which is another one where I'm like, I'm squinting at it. I don't believe their claims about like 15 decibels quieter than like their competitors' cans. And I'm not really entirely sure how the quote unquote cooling system works. Looks like a Venturi on the end, but you know, it's like there's those are unique cans. But how does like a new company trying to get in there not just copy and paste and do another, spoiler alert, it's a cat white bread, basically?
Yeah. So I got a funny story. Hold on. You might have saw that I was chuckling a little bit when you started talking about the Tisha. I have a funny story about the Saw guys. So they have that little bitty 9mm suppressor. It's called the Shiv.
Mhm.
I was at a live fire demo event where you could go around and you could try suppressors from other manufacturers. I went to their booth and I'd been really curious in trying the Shiv. I shot it and it blew my mind, like to the point, like I don't understand how it's possible that a 9mm suppressor can be that small and sound that good. It blew my mind to the point where I was like, no fucking way. Like this isn't real. They're doing something somehow to trick this. So I went back to my truck and I got my gun and I got my ammo and I went back over to the Saw booth and told the engineer, I said, let me put that suppressor on my gun and use my ammo. And he did. And I mean, sure enough, they weren't. They, I was so skeptical. I was like, I'm about to go get my gun and my ammo and see what's really up. And I'm like, no, it's just that fucking good. Like it's pretty crazy.
Really?
It's funny, yeah. The
Okay, yeah,
Saw
'cause that's
guys.
always, I'm more cynical, right, when it comes to a lot of this stuff, because of course it's in these companies' best interest to just lie, right? Just straight up lie, right? Because if you are telling a customer this is the greatest can ever, it's so quiet, you're just gonna blow your mind. Most consumers have no idea what they're talking about. So
Yeah.
they'll like look at you and be like, oh, okay. They'll shoot it and be like, I don't know, sounds pretty quiet. And then they'll go about their day and not be any the wiser, right? So when
And
again,
that's-
when one of these companies is like, no, our can is half the size and twice the sound reduction, it's like, I just don't even know how it's possible, right? There's only so many ways you can direct air inside of a tube.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But they're doing something different. But I mean, I think the reason that we've built the reputation that we have is because we're just so honest about our product. Like I don't have any qualms about recommending another company's product if what the customer is wanting fits more with this other product like the Shiv or like a Velos or a Dead Air. I look at things like if I lie to a customer, they're gonna find out that I'm lying. Like if I say buy this suppressor because it's the best ever, they're gonna get it, and it's not gonna take them very long to figure out that I lied to them. And I've just guaranteed that that customer will never buy anything else, and they're not gonna tell their friends to buy anything else. Or I can
I
just
don't know,
be
man.
honest.
Sometimes I'm like, people are just stupid. Like
Sometimes,
if you only ever shoot one suppressor, like you're never gonna know. I
no,
guess
that's true.
until maybe you shoot with your friends and they have like a different suppressor, and then you're gonna be like, oh damn, that does sound better. I
Yeah.
did get screwed over, right?
I would just rather sell something to somebody the honest way, and I don't know, but to your uh, to your original to your original question, sorry,
You're good.
I just fucking fried my own brain. Repeat the question for me.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's basically like with the 100+ new suppressor companies, how do you differentiate yourself when they're all using the same 4 or 5 print factories
Okay.
to make essentially another cat white bread?
I mean,
Plus or minus a little bit.
there's only so many ways to skin a cat at the end of the day when it comes to designing a suppressor. They're all going to look similar. They're all going to act similar. There's just so many ways. There's only so many ways to do it. Um, and nobody will admit it, but a 10-year-old can design a decent suppressor after spending an hour on Google. It's not fucking rocket science. So it doesn't take very much for somebody to design an okay, halfway decent suppressor. What customers are really buying most of the time is the brand. They're buying customer service, they're buying reputation, they're buying years in the industry, um, just product history. Um, just being good isn't enough to cut it sometimes. I mean, that's just so you just need to find a way to differentiate yourself that's not your product, I guess.
So for you then, do you have to focus on like customer service? Some companies are like, no, we're really wacky at marketing. Like that's our gimmick. You know, we'll do weird stuff online and that's how we sell products by trying to be
Yeah.
funny. Like what's your guys' strategy on that?
Um, we always go above and beyond to take care of people, and we have a no bullshit warranty. Like we've had people shoot 9 millimeters through their 5.56 suppressors and 308s through their 5.56 suppressors, and we just replace them for free, no questions asked. Or
Can
if
I
you
do
have
that right now on camera and you'll replace it?
yeah, I don't care. But yeah, and then sometimes manufacturing defects do happen. We're making 50,000 of these suppressors a year, and we're just people at the end of the day. So sometimes manufacturing defects do happen, and when they do happen, if somebody gets a bad product, which is still rare. I mean, I can count on one hand the number of manufacturing defects we've sent out in the last year out of 50,000. So
Mhm.
it's rare, but when it happens, we offer to upgrade them to the more premium product for free. Like, say somebody gets a Polonium 30 budget 30 cal can and it has a manufacturing defect, we'll say, hey, that's on us. I'm sorry. Would you like to upgrade to the, $1,300 Infinity 762 free of charge, just as an apology for the inconvenience? We've done that with several people.
Quite
Just
nice.
really, just really, just take care of people. Like,
Mhm.
if you're making 50,000 suppressors a year, let's not mince words and not dance around it. We're talking tens of millions of dollars. You can afford to make things right and help people out, especially when you mess up, and go. You can afford to go above and beyond to take care of somebody. So why would you not?
Yeah, and I mean it only helps your reputation too, right?
Mhm.
You're gonna get a repeat customer if you do an upgrade like that. So in the long run, you're probably even still making money on losing money for helping out a customer, right? Now, I have a very, very important question for you. Okay,
So,
before we get to the chat questions for you, it's a two-part. All right, what is
but
the best suppressor to buy for 5.56 in 2026, and what's the worst suppressor to buy for 5.56 in 2026?
if we're talking about just in terms of performance, purely performance, I would say that um, the Tisha or the Cat Alley Cat would be my two choices for absolute best. Oh man, I hate to do a worst because that means
Yeah,
I'm gonna have
that's
to.
the fun one. That's the one everybody wants to know about. While
Oh
we're on the
man,
topic of best, have you tried the Street Thug? Is that the new one?
oh the ST.
Yeah, the ST.
Yeah, yeah. Street Thug. I forgot it. I forgot ST stood for Street Thug. Yeah, I have tried it. Um, it's super quiet. My only complaint about it is that it's too long. Um,
It's even
it's
bigger and heavier than the white bread, which was not a small can to begin with. Yeah.
right. Yeah, no, it's just too long. I mean, the easiest way to make a suppressor quiet is to make it longer. I mean, the 6-inch suppressor is going to beat the 5-inch suppressor unless we're talking about the Tisha. damn near 100% of the time. So if you want to make something quieter, just make it longer. And everybody just kind of has it's just personal preference. Everybody has a
Mm.
threshold of, how long is too long. And for me, the ST is just a little bit too long for what I personally like. But if you're wanting to go for max quiet, then the ST is awesome too.
Mhm. All right, but now the worst one, the hard one. It's the worst 556 suppressor to buy. Is it an RC2 in 2026? You're still buying one of
No,
those? Unbelievable.
no, damn it.
I'm
I
just
don't
trying to
want
piss off Zanyco in chat because Zanyco is an RC2 defender.
Oh, I don't want to do a worst one. I'm
No, the
trying to
worst one. No, it's got to be just like a YHM T2. Like, ugh, get rid of that. 2026, you have so many better options, bro. Come on, like that's easy for me to do.
um I'm gonna say, have you seen the whip machine? They call them like Canuter valves, or
Yes, I know what you're talking about. I almost bought one of those
they're
because
like a they're like a monocore old school. I mean, monocore even predates regular baffles. Monocore. We're
Mhm.
talking like World War I, World War II tech suppressor that's like really short and somehow still weighs 8 pounds. Um, and it's like 350 $400 or something. There's absolutely zero reason to buy one of those when something like YHM or polonium or something exists.
No, I agree. I remember seeing, I think it was Mr. Guns and Gear just do a decibel test on one of those, and it did like almost nothing. It's like a suppressor in name only. So I
Yeah.
agree with that. That's a good pick for worst. Heck
Okay.
yeah. All right. Do you have time to hang out and go through some questions from chat?
Yeah, do you care if I go grab a bottle of water just real quick?
No, go for it, bro. Okay.
Yeah, get some questions together that you want me to answer, and I'll go grab a bottle of water real quick.
Will do. Heck yeah. No, dude, I forgot about the neuter valve, whatever they call it, from Wit Machine. I honestly kind of forgot about the company because back in the day, again, before you have the influx of new suppressor companies like Tuna Can and whatnot, they were one of the only cheap cans on the market. And their thing was like, you can get one of our cans for under $500 because you could get like the Naughty 9 or whatever their 9 mil can was for like $299. And then with the $200 tax stamp, it was like $500, which still $500 is way too much money for one of those things for sure. All right. Handsome Horse for 5 says, Andrew, did you get those super cool tattoos at the same place that Shark Coast Tactical does? Asking for my friend Hop.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys go to the same tattoo artist?
A lot of my tattoos my kids drew. So this is a bunny rabbit that my son drew. This is a picture of me that my son drew.
I see the resemblance.
Yeah, this is a picture of my car that my daughter drew, and this is a love note from my daughter.
Oh, that's cute.
And there's a picture of me that they drew. So a lot of like, I don't know, I still hang them on the fridge like a traditional parent does, but a lot of my tattoos are drawing things that my kids drew.
That's cute. That's kind of wholesome in a way. Usually tattoos are like big and bad and ooh rah, like I'm a cool guy. It's like, nah,
Yeah.
I got my kids' doodles tattooed on my arm, bro. Take
Yeah,
that.
I love them.
Yeah. Zanyco says RC2 or GTFO. Yes, classic, man. He's a cloner guy, though. Give him a break. He says that he also likes his Polo 30 as well.
We'll give cloners a pass. Cloners are the most dedicated breed. I've never met somebody who will gladly pay thousands of dollars for a flashlight from 1992 and be thrilled to death about it. So cloners can get a pass.
Dedicated is a nice word. I would have called them autistic, but Dogwater says, just saw my local shop has an OCM 6 in stock. I will not financially recover from my suppressor addiction. Well, that's a good one.
I'm excited about OCM 6.
Well, from your personal, obviously, you might be a little biased, but is the OCM 6 just like the better can to get nowadays, right? Over the
Compared
OCM
to
5?
what?
Well, over the OCM 5, right?
Oh, we don't even make the OCM 5 anymore. So, yeah.
Oh, fair enough then. Whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jail Ganas for 2 says, no, Zany, in Infinity 556K or bust. Otter Gang. All right. And then Zanyco for 2 says, if he puts doggos on screen, I'll buy a Polo K right now.
I got a little Yorkie running around here somewhere. I don't know where he is.
You just got to go steal him and you'll get a new sale, okay? We'll hold Zanico to his word. Let's see. Carver for 2 says, OCL, will you name a product after Big Toe Money? Now, are you familiar with the Big Toe Money meme?
I don't guess I know that lore.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. Well, this will be a great time to initiate you into the meme. So anytime somebody super chats $20, we play a very specific video called Big Toe Money. Now, one of the co-hosts on the show on Mondays, one day just randomly decided to show his bare toes on screen. Unprompted, just put his feet up, and then the chat decided to meme it into oblivion. And so now every time somebody donates $20, as the handsome horse has, we play this little bit of media. So I would apologize, but you're on the show. This is what you get.
This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. Hey, take money, big toe money. This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. My feet feel good, your feet where they should. Y'all just sitting in the grass with a cigarette. Take money, big toe money, that's a bigger check. Walking in, everybody's.
I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that.
Big Toe Money. That is exactly. And again, unprompted, he put his feet on screen, and I don't know what he expected, but yes, the people just
That's somehow. That's so. I don't know how. That's somehow so much more wholesome than what I thought was about to get played on. I don't know how that is more wholesome than what I thought was going to happen.
Actually, that's weird because I don't want to imagine what you were imagining there.
Yeah,
when it comes to feet, I don't know what you do with your feet, okay, and your sick, twisted fantasies. But listen, this is a wholesome chat, okay? And Big Toe Money.
I've got one toe that doesn't have a toe. I have a toe that doesn't have a toenail on it. It's pretty weird looking.
Ah, okay. Well, hey, I mean that could be a new addition. You never know. Anyways, the handsome horse for 20 says, "Let's go, Big Toe Money, Hump Day edition, free Dugan, Christ is King." Thank you very much, handsome horse. Very based of you. All right, let's see here. Zanico for 5 says, "John, ask him if I can T&E an OCM6. I won't give it back." Well, that's not very nice of you, Zanico.
We just sent our last T&E out yesterday, I think. Sorry.
Well, tell him that, yeah, he just missed the ship on that one. All right. Hilter Lover 1488 says, "Andrew, what's your opinion on 6'5" Grendel?"
I mean, call me a boomer or FUD or whatever you want, but I'm just not a fan of all these like weird kind of oddball calibers just because I've seen too many of them come and go. Like
Absolutely.
Like the 6.8 SPC and the 224 Valkyrie and I've shot regular 5.56 out to 1,000 yards. Not with great success, but I've done it. 700-800 yards pretty easy with a 5.56. But I've just never been in a situation where I was like, damn it, I wish I had a 6.5 Grendel.
True, dude. Can you just say for everyone here that 6.5 Grendel sucks and doesn't need to exist? Because I'm on that boat with you.
I don't think it sucks, but it's just like I don't see what role it really fills for me. It's like ballistically, if you look at the ballistics coefficient and the velocity and the trajectory, it's just a 308 with more steps for a 6.5 Grendel.
Yeah, I agree with everything negative you said about 6.5 Grendel and its fan base. Okay, because I see Hop is still in the chat, and he is a avid 6.5 Grendel defender. Now, Lost Arrow asks, "Andrew, what is your fursona?" Which I'm going to imagine is like a teddy bear or something like that, or preferably nothing.
I don't know what I've never heard that term before, like a spirit animal or something, I guess.
No, if you don't know what that is, then don't worry about it, bro. It's one of those things where you don't need to know. It's additional information that will just worsen your life in every way if you have to know what goes through these sick and twisted people's minds. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming on. That was basically all that the chat had for you. Is there anything you want to shout out or talk about before we kick you on out of here and you can get on with the rest of your night?
a funny story, and yeah, no, a funny story. So I had Corey from SupDef. You're
Mhm.
familiar.
Mhm.
Um, I'd actually I'd never heard of you until like a month or maybe a couple weeks before you reached out to me. He was like, have you heard of this dude? And I was like, no, what's going on? And he was like, he made a video about me. And I was like, no, you'll be okay. But you should be friends with Corey. Corey's a cool dude too.
Or from Fort Knox podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, we talked a little bit. I was supposed to get him on the show like last week, and then I just didn't respond. So I left him on red, which I kind of feel bad for.
I'll text him. What if I text Corey and I'm like, hey, let's do an episode where we both go back on?
That's fine.
Would you do it? Okay.
I would. I think it'd be funny because he's an interesting person, okay? Because he has wild takes that would be very fun to explore on this live chat. I think this live chat, because he does a thing where he's like, this PSA upper is better than anything BCM could ever make. And I think my chat will love that. And by love that, I mean hate it profusely, which will entertain me.
He's a
in a
funny,
way.
interesting dude. Like that, the most interesting man in the world memes and stuff. That's like Corey, but with a beard. He's a cool dude. He'd have fun on here.
Yeah, no, that would be fun. We could absolutely do that. Well, all right, Andrew. Really appreciate your time, good sir. Thank you for coming on, giving us 20 minutes more than we promised. But thank you very much once again, good sir.
Yes, sir.
Have a good night.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. All right, Richard.
Yes, sir.
You spoke 0 times in an hour and 22 minutes.
Not a single word.
that was good. I know I said if you had questions you could just bring it up, but I guess not.
Well, I did have one question right at the end.
Oh, damn it. You should have thrown it out there before I kicked him. What the heck?
Well, there will be time in the future. Okay.
Well, again, people in the chat, very happy with Andrew of Otter Creek Labs for coming on. Otter Creek Lab W, Richard W, of course, Andrew the GOAT. Very nice. James is gay. That's a great new account. Damn, that's a good account. Corey's beard gets me going. Dude, that's good. Task Force Tater, hope you're doing well out there. I see Jake, who I think just got on time to watch his toes pop up. Richard was shy. W. Andrew, big fan of the Otter Creeks. Handsome Otter. You know, I agree, okay? You don't need a lot of hair to be handsome. Actually, quite a handsome young man. All right, and he's got kids, which is base. More than you degens in chat, all right? And Lost Arrow asking about a fursona. What is up with you people? But you know what? We're going to get to other fursonas because, yes, SIG 3D printers. Damn it, I should have talked to him about their 3D printers, which I think they're also making with their suppressors. They blew up. They took off somebody's hand, from what I heard, okay? Because allegedly, you know, somebody in the know in like a group chat with some of the workers there say that somebody lost their hand because one of the SIG 3D printers blew up in their factory, which we've got 320s blowing up, going off a little early. We got suppressors. We knew their suppressors were blowing up, or at least their mounts weren't working. But now the machines that are printing them are also blowing up, which is funny and also awful if you're the guy who lost your hand to a Sig Sauer 3D printer. So, Sig Sauer factory fire, a fire involving multiple 3D printing machines, prompted the evacuation of Sig Sauer's Exeter facility. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. Exeter? I don't know. Anyways, on Monday afternoon, we have the Instagram post here. So the Sig Sauer facility in Exeter was evacuated Monday afternoon when multiple 3D printing machines caught fire. More details at the link in our bio, which we will check out in just a second. Even their machines ND, that's a good one. Overwatch says the 3D printers cannot, under any circumstances, discharge without a trigger pull. That is a fact. It prints today. Sig Sauer probably, very funny. I see Andrew here is also messaging me on Instagram, which is very funny. Thank you again for coming on, sir. Appreciate that. Inserts P320 joke here. Yep, many such cases. Let's see if that story is still live on here. Where did it go? I hate how fast this stuff goes, and now it's no longer available. Let me just pull that up. SIG 3D printer blows up or catches fire. I don't know, whichever one is funnier. Let's see this one. Oh, I like how we still have Lost Arrows comment on screen. All right. So, 3D printer blast at gunmaker injures worker. An explosion. Go away. My gosh. An explosion and fire in a 3D printing machine inside 6 Hours gun making factory in Exeter, New Hampshire. Monday left one worker seriously injured. Exeter fire officials got the call to the facility at 18 Industrial Drive, Monday, July 27th, shortly before 4 p.m., following an explosion involving stored titanium in the 3D printing machine. Ew, imagine getting like a titanium hand grenade that explodes in fragments and takes off your hand. Ugh. Upon arrival, firefighters reported workers evacuated the large manufacturing facility. Upon investigation, first responders found one victim with burn injuries and a reported fire and explosion of titanium in a commercial 3D printing machine. The manufacturing area had a smoking condition with an active fire in one machine. Hazmat technicians and specialists from the Exeter Fire Department later determined that two machines had active fires, both contained in machinery hoppers. Ugh, titanium fire. Anyways, so we thought that was bad. We thought the 320 was bad, but now they're suppressors. And because I think the suppressors are the only thing that they 3D print, right? As far as I'm aware, you know, because they got mill contracts for all that stuff. And yeah, what a way to lose a hand. But we have another little update on Sig Sauer, which I find just as interesting or entertaining personally. So Patrick Gorilla Man, who is someone that we've talked about before, he actually sent me this post earlier. He's talked a lot of trash on Sig Sauer. I think he's a funny dude. He makes pretty decent content. He's a good shooter as well. But he got a voicemail from one of these guys after he started to talk smack on SIG, specifically their handguns, after I think he got rejected for their shooting team, is kind of the allegations. So one of them sent him an email or voicemail, sorry, and it is exactly as bad as you think it is. Letting this play here. Just wait.
This is Baljit Benshot calling from SIG, motherfucker. This is Patrick the Gorilla Gunman, motherfucker. Baljit Benshot calling you from SIG, motherfucker. This is not a bot, motherfucker.
You know, there's something about Indian voices that it's just not possible for them to be intimidating. You know, it's like you can barely speak. It's broken, babbled nonsense in your horrifying accent, right? It's like, it's just immediate aura loss, right? Negative aura, generational aura debt. Okay, the moment you open your mouth. Awful, right? It's just like, I don't know, it's like a toddler, you know, like kicking you. It's annoying, but it's so unthreatening, you know? It's just obnoxious, right? Because you're like, I can't like, you know, kill you. You're a toddler. I mean, you're not like equal with me. Just ugh.
Pick up your phone, motherfucker. You act like you're a tough boy on the fucking social media, but now you don't want to pick up my call, motherfucker. I'll fuck you up. I'll hunt you down, motherfucker. I know this is you, motherfucker. Pick up your phone, motherfucker. Why are you blocking me? Are you a cock block, motherfucker?
Yes, that is the SIG marketing manager, as far as I'm aware. He's doing like the brown looping or the black looping as it's known, but he's just not very good at it, you know. At least blacks are more aggressive, you know, they're louder, they're more angry about it. Whereas this is just like so context, after the whole watching the 320 shoot some guy thing, my page got swarmed with insane pro SIG 320 fake accounts, all Indian bots. Now, you know what's funny is Ron Cohen. I'm just blaming this on him. Okay, I have no evidence, but this is Ron Cohen's doing 100%. And he's like, you know what? We could fix our marketing. We could, rescind our NDs today post. We could, fix the P320 internals. We could increase our quality control. And then he looks around the room and somebody's like, or we could hire a bunch of Indians to bully people online. Like, that would be way funnier. And he's like, yes, that's the one. Go with that. Way cheaper. Hire 10,000 Indians right now to hunt down and harass and call the people who said anything negative about the 320 online. I am calling it right now. This is Ron Cohen's doing specifically. He ordered the hit on Patrick Gorilla Man. So about 2 accounts were controlling dozens of fake profiles whose whole purpose was to insult me, slander me, and for some reason defend the SIG P320 and SIG themselves. They went as far as lying about me being present at the event, saying I had some secret recording that exonerates SIG. I was just keeping for some reason, accusing me of tampering with other people's guns, attempted murder via tabbing triggers. Still no idea what that means. But me apparently either being on or wanting to be on SIG's shooting team, whatever that means, and on and on. After identifying the fake profiles and blocking them, I spent 2 days receiving nonstop calls from unlisted numbers, leaving voicemails like this. This was just the funniest one. They also got a hold of my wife's number and did the same, which is very gross, but so are these people. These people are pretty clearly Indian/Pakistani controlled accounts. Same thing. That someone, certainly not SIG USA, paid to target me. I just doubt they knew how far some of these people would go to do so. This is a 100% real voicemail someone left on my phone. And we'll just go through some of the comments as well one more time because it's so good.
This is Baljit Benshot calling from SIG, motherfucker. This is Patrick the Gorilla Gunman.
That's actually funny. They literally just sent it to Fiverr, hiring like Fiverr Indians for like $20 to come harass a guy is very funny. Honestly, also a funny practical joke, right? Just do this to your friends. Just to hire an Indian for like $50 to harass one of your friends. Well, preferably your unmarried friends so that the women don't get brought into it. But either way, that would actually be kind of a funny practical joke.
Motherfucker.
So Tactical Outdoors, Patrick has been rejected by SIG's competition shooting team for this reason. He's upset with them. He used to shoot SIGs until he was rejected and found the reasons to hate on them. I wish he would just release the video of the person reholstering it so it can clear up things for people. This post really is misleading, but we are working in touch with the person shot in the leg. Just can't disclose his name at the moment, but we know who he is. Again, just some Indian fake slop account.
Then calling you from SIG, motherfucker. This is not a bot, motherfucker.
Don't let Q see this. That's funny.
Pick up your phone, motherfucker.
Nothing is wrong with the 320. There was then prove it. This idiot liberal Patrick said that he reholstered it about 5 times. That trigger was tabbed, plain and simple. Now, what is funny about that is anybody that this was a tactic that even SIG used is like, oh, these are just anti-gun, anti-2A people attacking SIG and the P320. You remember when Phil Strader was using that line? Like, these are just anti-gun, woke liberals coming after SIG, okay? That hole in your leg is a liberal lie. Relax, liberal. It's called dark humor.
You act like you're a tough boy on the fucking social media, but now you don't want to pick up my call, motherfucker. I'll fuck you up. I'll hunt you down, motherfucker.
I'll hunt you down.
I know this is you, motherfucker. Pick up your phone, motherfucker. Why are you blocking me? Are you a cock block, motherfucker?
Are you cock block, motherfucker? Like, what are you even saying? You're trying to use words that you don't understand to sound intimidating, right? But you don't really even know what you're saying. You know, it's hard to be intimidating. Like, if somebody told me to, like, gave me a script in Russian and I had to somehow like phonetically sound it out, right? That's what this sounds like. Somebody who doesn't even know what he's talking about, doesn't even know what he's saying. It's just nonsense. All I hear are Teslas. Yeah, something like that. Anyways, that is the SIG double drama wrapped up together. And now we have something else. All right. Ooh, excuse me. We have PSA has released their 570. Okay. And the reviews are in, and the reviews are funny. Very, very funny, because you might notice, you click on this image here, you got Big John, Little John, Medium John, and Tiny John all writing 5-star reviews of the new PSA 570. And to me, I'm like, this has got to be fake. This is a meme somebody did. Like, and there's a lot of them. You can just keep going with all of the memes that people have done on them. And then you actually go to the website and it is real. Now, it is funny. Is real mentioned? What? The 5-star reviews of one of them, I don't even understand. So, sucks, not chambered for 2 3/4 rounds, 5 stars. What? What do you even? That doesn't make any sense. Swamp Ape says if an 870 and a 500 had a baby, looks like it borrows features from both. Very interesting. All right. But then you get to this one. All right. And you have Baptist John, Sensitive John, Long John, Tiny John, Mini John, Littlest John, Little John, Corey. That's funny. And Medium John. And are there more? No, that's it. All right. So let's read some of these reviews. So I owneth not this shotgun yet, but I have seen the testimony of Big John 1776 in the wilderness of the internet, and my soul hath been stirred. I asked the Lamb who taketh away the recoil of the world, and he hath declared it good. Verily, this scattergat shall baptize the wicked with a buckshot in repentance of all lesser firearms. 5 stars, heavenly, from Baptist John. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. It just feels right, says Sensitive John. Not only do I not have one, but I literally just found out these existed. But thanks to my self-honed hyperphantasia, I can confidently declare this is the greatest firearm to hit the market since the 10th century Firelands. Thank you, Sensitive John. Long John. Whoa! Can't wait to buy a new Heckin' Scattergat war crime trench gun for the collection after seeing the glowing review from Tiny John 1776. I know it's going to be a great investment piece. Godlike, says Tiny John. I especially won't ever have one. Sorry, that's a funny sentence. I especially won't ever have one. But I read Big John 1776, Little John 1776, and Medium John 1776 reviews, and I know this shotgun blows all other shotguns out of the park. Amazing. PSA rocks, says Mini John. I must have. Modular design and forthcoming automatic version makes it formidable on my birthday list. Thank you, Mini John. Fantastic, says Littlest John. Spectacular piece. The Johns of many sizes have spoken strong truths. Thank you. Thank you, Littlest John. Now, Little John says, yeah, I don't even have one yet, but I read Big John 1776 review, and I can tell you that it's great. Can't wait to get one. Y'all rock. Now, Medium John comes in, says, I also don't have one yet, but read Big John 1776 and Little John 1776's reviews, and already know it's going to be the best shotgun ever. Can't wait. So I love that PSA's reviews are flooding their website with 5-star reviews that it's got to be some people just playing a funny little practical joke, but I think it's also retarded of PSA to allow people who have not purchased their product and, you know, can't verify that they purchased their product to leave reviews on their website. Verified human John. Yes. I mean, honestly, it would be really funny if you guys went to the PSA website for the 570 and left a bunch of other John reviews. You could do Trip John. You could do Focus John. It could be really funny if you guys left a lot of other 5-star reviews on the PSA 570 website. I'm not saying to do that, but if such a thing were to occur, it would be quite humorous. Okay? We do Rumble John, do Black John. That's true. Is a Scrawny John, John and John. Yes. John Trip, Massad John. Yes. And you could talk about how it's circumcised, how it's they cut a little off the tip, how the pump is ridged. for your pleasure. You could do John. You could do Up John. Hey, what up, John? I think there could be, there's some good material here. Although I think my favorite is Baptist John, done in the King James Bible version. I think that is very good. You guys should do a Ebonics John. You could do an Asian John, which could be really funny. Okay, girthy John, interesting. Toe John would be very funny. Everything needs to relate to feet, but you guys got to get into character. Okay, it can't just be I read so and so's review. No, if you're gonna be like evil rapist John, you got to go into like a story about how you're gonna use it to in the commission of your crimes, basically, right? If you're gonna be I don't know, Nate Higgers John, all right, you got to talk about how this John is the perfect tool for cleaning society. Okay, you got to get into the spirit of it. Okay, it can't just be generic. You guys got to do something good. All right, Rhodesia John, also very funny, also good. John the Revelator could be good. Rastafari John, hey man, yeah, that could be really good. John 1488. Yep. What if you do heroic rapist John? Yes. No, self-defense raping John. Self-defense rapist John would be very funny, okay? And you have to talk about how you raped in self-defense while using a PSA 570, okay? Financial fraud John would be very funny. And then you have to talk about how you did a chargeback on your 570. Very funny. Very, very funny. Garand John, a lot of material there, okay? A lot of material. You could talk about alimony payments. You could talk about multiple families. I mean, there's so much to get into there. John the Forgetful, that's true. That's true. John, you're asking your chat to get their door knocked. Don't worry about it, Focus Strip. Don't worry. Femboy John, you could talk about it, how it's too hard to rack. How the gun is too heavy, how you can't even shoulder it, and the recoil and noise scares you. That could be funny. Usury John Joplifile, that could also be funny. Yeah, Kurt Cobain John, yes, that's actually really good. How you're like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get. You got to ask everybody else. Like, great shotgun, looks like it's gonna do the trick, but where can I buy a single shell? Everywhere I have to buy them in packs of 5 or 25 or 100. I just need one, right? Be like really adamant about how you only need to buy one shell. You're like, great shotgun, seems like it's going to do the trick. Does anyone know where I can get one John or one shell? I got John on the brain. I just need one shell, okay? Rated by Mouthfeel, that's good. Clever Girl John, also good. Jokel John, yes, indeed. Describe the mouthfeel. Trench John, absolutely not. See, but that's what I'm saying. You guys, there's a lot of opportunities to do great, funny things here. Okay? All right? And we can make this better because this is good. What we have here on the PSA's website is good, but we can make it better, you and I. All right? Yeah, I think you guys are fantastic. You guys are coming up with great ideas. All right. Well, moving on from there. Richard, we're going to get into rage bait. You got to get out of here, bro.
I am off for the next 2 days.
Oh, well, that's nice. That's not bad. John Free Epstein. You could do that one. I'd prefer you didn't, but you could do that one. That's a good one too. Give me the Mickey Hoodie John. Very funny. Topical as well. Sorry, go ahead, Richard.
No, I was just saying that's a very good name.
Yeah. But no, you're welcome to hang out for the rest of the stream. I mean, I think when you look at like the money you make per word, you actually get paid more than some movie stars per word. You're kind of like just there for the looks, basically at this point.
I am.
You know what's funny is that they used to pay to change your PFP all the time, but now they don't even do that anymore. You don't even have a real job anymore. You just kind of sit there.
I know.
Just sit there and look pretty.
I do. It's great.
110 John actual. Yeah. Sleepy John, Richards John. Hey, Tiny Hat John would be really funny. Talk about how the interest rate on like their 4-pay system or whatever it is too high. That'd be very funny. Don't tase me, John. Also good. All right. Well, anyways, fine. Well, let's get to your guys' support real quick. Amorite Boy for 2 says late like a Nabris time of the month after prom. What's a Nabris?
No clue.
I don't want to know, but thank you, Amorite Boy. Lag Demon, 400 jewels, drops the eagle. Appreciate that, sir. Boogie Down Syndrome, 10 jewels, drops a gold coin. Zanico for 2 says, how long to do 6 to 7 million cans? I think somebody did the math in chat, and it was literally 109 years at that 150 cans a week or something like that. It's a lot. Long time. Thank you, Zadico. KX for 10 jewels says, happy poop. Appreciate that. Thank you for the poop. Ray Polocost, member for 13 months, says, science, fake and gray women coded, if you would. Yes, a lot of science is woman coded. Zanico for 2 says, feet. Then he follows it up. He says, bare feet. All right. Zanico for 2 says, John, I want on that stream, referring to Corey and Andrew. Our Andy Owamo for 20 jewels does GG easy. Appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Polly B for 2 says, Sigsar did not redeem. Yes. No more hands for you. Thank you, Polly B. Spec for 2 says, buy the P320 motherfucker. It ends today, sir. They need to use that in their next commercial. I think it's going to work out great for them. It's a ring-a-ding-a-ding today, motherfucker. Yes, thank you, Last Bean. I appreciate that. Zanico for 2 says, Israeli John or Jake PFP Richard? Well, fine. Now you got to change it.
I will do that.
Agardis for 5 says, considering returning to the church, thoughts on Catholic versus Orthodox? Definitely not interested in anything Protestant. Well, as someone who is exploring the Orthodox Church, I 1000% recommend the Orthodox Church. Anything that's canonical, whether it's Antiochian, Greek, Russian, they're all good. Just go to Divine Liturgy, read the Church Fathers, and I'm pretty sure you'll come to the same conclusion I did. Go to Orthodox. If you're looking between Catholic and Orthodox, there's no question. You go Orthodox. 100%. Thank you, Agardis, and Godspeed out there in your journey. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
I had a nice gentleman show up at my work the other day, passing out Bibles. He was a Gideon at his church.
Oh, very nice of him. All right, let's see here. I think over on Rumble, we got Whip Bear for 5. Says, can I get a BTM Gookie Slant Slope Chinky Chinama version? But I think that was a bunch of slurs together, but very funny. Just for all the slurs. But now I have to find it again. That's the one I don't have. Shoot. Where is Jade Toe Money? I'll find it. I know I have it. Here it is. That did not take me very long to find. All right, I was 30 seconds of that. Thank you, Whip Bear. Appreciate that over there on Rumble. All right. On Ko-Fi, I saw a couple come through over here. We have Polly B for $20 says, Chimp John 1776 here. I'll definitely not be buying a PSA 570, but I do plan on sealing one in the commission of my next ill-thought criminal misadventure into hood. Give me a kill yourself and pregnant taser, please. Well, listen, pregnant taser, one of my favorites for sure. And to kill yourself, just classic, bro.
Kill yourself, faggot.
I am a pregnant woman, taser.
That's a good one. I appreciate that very much, Polly B. Hope you're having a good night over there. And one more over on Ko-Fi. Josh Howard for 3 says, Jeets might actually be the second worst. Yeah, it really is a battle for second worst, isn't it? Between all of the others. You know, I think that's the nice way of putting it, all of the others. But actually on topic for this, okay, is It's so obnoxious, isn't it? We were just talking about Catholic v. Orthodox, and it's a little rough. Okay, the Pope, Pope Leo XIV says, Taekwon Johnson, whose survival as a newborn was recognized by Pope Leo XIV as a miracle in 2025, is now wanted by police in Rhode Island over a double shooting. Police have issued a arrest warrant, charging the 19-year-old with felony assault with a firearm and firing in a compact area after 2 men were wounded in Newport on July 19th. He remains at large. Isn't that just like the carrot on top, or the whatever the word is for that, whatever the phrase is, you know what I mean? Because at the same time, sorry, I'm dying here. As the Pope is over there, like blessing the doorway to Europe and taking photos with migrants and wishing them blessings, and telling Europeans that they need to make room for their new replacements, as it were. Somebody that he's saying is a miracle birth is out there shooting people in Rhode Island.
What was the miracle here, that his mom didn't go to Planned Parenthood?
Okay, but at that rate, like, isn't everything just 50-50, bro? It's actually worse than 50-50 with blacks, right? It's like 55%.
I think it's 60%. Right around 3/5.
It's really rough. It says, when's he getting canonized? Next week, bro. Catholic saint Dindu of the nothing. Yeah. Anyways, so it's just perfect timing for that. I had that pulled up already, and I saw that and was like, well, that's rage baity enough to talk about, I suppose. Now,
ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Was it?
He technically knew his father.
I guess so. All right, let's see. Which one did I have here? Okay. We have a couple funny ones to get to, okay? Now, by funny, I don't mean like funny, but like at least a little entertaining. So here we have Darcy Stetchman. A very funny sounding last name, okay? But like, I'm actually confused on this one. All right, is this a female pretending to be a man, or is this just a insanely feminized man?
Yes.
Like, I'm not actually entirely sure here. This one's weird. It's uncanny valley, not quite human, not entirely sure. But let's go ahead and give this to a listen and see what the police are getting up to with all of our state-sponsored funds.
Part of it. I love being a part of it. I love being able to go out with my wife throughout the entire city and being able to say, hey, I put that sticker on that business. As of the
Report hate crimes. Safe place.
Oh, no, that is an actual female. The hand does not lie.
This morning we have 129 different businesses. So a safe place is basically a business will get in contact with me. I'll come out to the location and go over the program. It's basically a safe place essentially for any victim of any hate crime whatsoever.
That was posted by Metro Nashville, the official page, collabed with the mayor. If you live in Nashville or Tennessee,
I mean, all of these big metro areas and these police departments, like, maybe I'm now a cob, okay? We need to cut all police funding. If this is what you're doing, is doing the gay patrol, and you're like, we need to make sure that businesses are signed up as safe spaces for queer folk, or whatever the term is that they're using nowadays. It's like, maybe we should cut your funding. Maybe you do have too much money and time on your hands, you know? It's like, sorry to all the police officers watching right now. Sorry, Ben, but got to cut your department's funding by half until we get rid of the dyke problem. All right. We got to figure out this epidemic of these people joining the force. And until we fix the problem, we're cutting everybody's funding in half. Okay. I know it's an extreme measure, but we got to get to the problem of this. Just going to get rid of them all. Okay.
see, like me, you should be pissed. This is where our tax dollars are going. We're funding that law enforcement. What?
I love being a part of it. I love being able to go out with my wife throughout
Right, but am I crazy that like the jawline and like some of the facial features are masculine? Is it just hacked up plastic surgery? Is it just
Testosterone.
yeah, maybe test? But it's just like it's painful to look at. And it's the voice. It's always the voice, right? That you hear it, you hear the voice come out of the face and you're like something is wrong. Something's not right here. Yeah, it's like Ellen Page. It's like you hack yourself up and you look hideous and you're 5 feet tall and you still sound like you're putting on vocal fry because you're trying to hide that voice. Yeah. One wood. Okay, one wood in the chat. All right, good luck. Hey, whatever you find down there, that's on you, bro. Okay, whatever you find down there, it's just have fun. All right, now we have the life of a tow truck driver. Now, this was put in the Discord. I've never seen this before. So I'm very excited to learn together, okay, as we take a trip on a safari to the suburban youth, to some communities, okay, that have a reputation for not paying their debts, for not being financially solvent, and sometimes the repo man got to come and do what he got to do.
Ooh, this is more than just your average tow truck driver.
Probably going to get hit for music. Oh, well. Turn it down a little bit. But man, you know, like going into this area, going into these apartment complexes, you know what you got to do. You know you're about to be accosted. You know that it's like, I don't know, it's feeding time at the zoo and you got to go clean out the cage, okay? And you know everything's just looking at you, trying to get at you. And I mean, it's almost like World War Z or something like that. It's going to be a horde of zombies, or zombers, as I like to call them. Okay, hard R here.
Is this Florida?
It might be, I'm not sure. And everybody knows what's going on. They're like, uh-oh, somebody's getting repoed. Dude, I do kind of like the idea here, right? Of like the guy who just goes in there, does not give a crap, just has to go in there, get the vehicle and leave, right? Jumping off the roof, getting on top of it, coming up to the window, jumping on top of things. We've got, man, 20, 30 with the people up in the background. These people came out of nowhere, bro. Like, this looks like, if you ever see like old pictures of the Congo from like the 1800s, and they're just all standing on like the shoreline as people are taking pictures from a boat. Like, this is almost what that looks like, right? There's like, oh, what's that guy doing? What's that boat? I've never seen a boat like that before. What? What is this? What's going on? Combined like triple digit IQ points, by the way.
And the worst part about this is that's a 1996 Dodge Caravan worth about $1,200.
It's that's the thing, and you know what? She probably got ripped off, and she's paying like 20% interest on that thing, 30% interest on that thing. Also, good point. They're not working because they we pay for this, by the way. Section 8 housing is literally just taxpayer funded breeding programs for these people. That's literally it, right? None of these people are working. None of them have a job. They all live in these state funded apartments, do horrible, decrepit things to one another, destroy the property values, destroy literally everything in the vicinity. And unfortunately, the renters don't care because they get paid by the government, and their punishment for taking our tax dollars is having to deal with these types of people. They're stomping on his vehicle. I would be caring. I would not be happy. Somebody gets in the car, more people yelling. I think he's just like, you know what? Nope. I'm okay right now. I'll come back later. Because I mean, look at that. Like, I wouldn't go in there with a gun. Right? If I was the repo guy, I'd be like, it's not worth it. Not
I damn
at
sure
all.
wouldn't go in there without one.
Well, even with a gun, I'm like, am I going to have to shoot like 6 people to repo a $1,200 van? Like, this is not worth it. This is nothing. Like, I'm out of here. I'll try tonight or something. I'll come back later. I'll.
No, the dude messed up. He should have brought in a buddy and split the pot. He goes over and acts like he's taking another one. Everybody flocks to him, and then his buddy comes up and snatches the one that they actually need.
That's a good idea. Yeah, gotta have a distraction. Okay, maybe drop a bunch of bananas on the other side of the parking lot or something. And it's like what's that thing in COD Zombies or Left 4 Dead that you throw and then all the zombies go and attack it? Is it like the monkey bomb or something like that? But basically, it's a distraction device. Makes noise, draws all the zombies to it, and then you can do your thing.
So what? You just toss it and they start going like.
Well, yeah, a little bit. The pipe bomb, that's the one. Thank you. No, I'm not recommending dropping a pipe bomb in a Section 8 neighborhood.
No, they might kill the pipe.
You know what? I got to give it to them, though. Ape together, strong, okay? Band together. Protect your $1,200 stolen minivans. Ape together, strong. But just look at how he backs in. Everybody knows what's going on. It's like there's a collective consciousness here where it's like Repo Man. They smell it in the air like the Repo Man. And then everybody comes out and starts swarming him. Because within like 30 seconds, like these people it's like 10 seconds. You got 2 people here. And then within just a couple of seconds, as he's trying to move in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 over here. I think I missed a few people over here on this side. But just people just flood in, right? It's like repo guys here. You know the drill. Let's go. Get them. Mutual assistance group. True. Nigtosis multiplied by nigtosis. That's not very nice. Funny, but true. No, I know the balcony's full of them too. Just standing there watching, and they jump down and they get in there. One of them does come up to the window and starts yelling at him. And it's like, man, I don't know, dude. Not worth it, bro.
What was he saying? I couldn't understand.
Sorry, I don't speak monkey. Banana.
That's a good one. I forgot about that one. I was like, what are you talking about, Richard? There's only music in the video. I can't hear anything, dude. Yes, like a Safari. This should be narrated by damn, what's the guy's name that did all the good narrations back in the day?
Yes. He did the nature documentaries.
Richard Hammond? No, it wasn't Richard Hammond, was it?
No. Hammond was the one who did
Attenborough. That's the one.
Attenborough.
David Attenborough, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Walter Cronkite. That's funny. Herzog is actually good. I like Herzog's voice. Okay. I think it'd be a good narrator for that.
James Earl Jones would have been a good one.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of bias there, maybe. Rest in peace, by the way. All right, now here's the thing. All right, this one's different but same. It's foids. It's always foids, isn't it? Whenever something is going wrong, you can just reliably be assured that some foid is at the bottom of it, and she thinks that she is going to.
Hey, what's going on? Who's
stop these
I need
people?
for you to come over here. Don't get in the truck, dude. Get out of the.
Now, to set this up, we have a foid police officer by herself attempting to stop 2 Napas from getting into their vehicle. If I were a betting man, I would say that It's not going to go very well. Okay? All right? I'm just going to lay out some stats for you, okay? You are 5 foot nothing and maybe 140 pounds with your armor and equipment on, all right? They are closer to 6 foot and somewhere between, 175 and 205 pounds, okay? They have this thing called a testosterone and no prefrontal cortex, all right? No inhibitions, nothing, all right? They don't care what you say. They don't respect your authority. You're a woman. You're a foid. If you are not willing to immediately dispense lethal force, sorry, girl. It's just not going to work out well for you. It's going to be a little rough.
Truck.
This is body camera video from a Travis County Sheriff's deputy from a May 2025 encounter when authorities...
See, it's almost like the hubris of the female. Like the guy, the thing here, all he has to do is not comply. Like if there's a single female police officer or even 2 or 3 female police officers, all you have to do is not comply. Like, do you guys remember the video? Came out like 2 years ago. I think it was 3 female police officers, 1 black guy, and they did their darndest to stop him. But he just continued to resist and to roll around and to move, and he eventually just ran away. And the girls were like, we tried our best. Gosh, they didn't even chase him after he got up and literally just walked away. Like he didn't even attack them or strike them or anything. He just literally kept moving. And like, as they grabbed him, like pushed him off and then ran away at the end. And it's like, 3 of you couldn't take on 1 guy. You're literally worthless. All right. And this woman is about to almost get shot because of her hubris. You know, the famous statue, little girl standing in front of a bull, right? The bull is like charging and she's just sitting there like, It's like literally a statue to female hubris, right? Standing in the way of a unstoppable force, and they are very much a movable object.
They say she was almost shot.
You mother... Okay, dude, stop! Get out!
Sergeant Laura Mabry had approached a 17-year-old in a stolen pickup.
17-year-old tarantula, always a red flag. All right. Tarantulas get squashed. The only good bug is a dead bug. All right.
Moments earlier, and instead of complying, he got into the truck and pressed the gas. Seconds later, the truck crashed, and that's when Graham Freeman is seen reaching for a Glock 19 pistol that went off, shooting him in the leg, but missing Sergeant Mabry.
He's so lucky. The guy shoots himself after crashing a stolen truck, right? And you guys hear her? She's like, dude, please. Dude, what are you doing? Dude. Bro, I'm trying to arrest you. Dude. Dude, please. It'd be so nice if you would stop. Shoots himself. So lucky though, right? Because what does she do if he just punches her in the face, grabs the gun, and shoots her a half dozen times? It's like, congratulations, you lose.
I think she forgot to explain to him that she has a vagina and that he needs to just comply.
Well, we have a clip for vagina now, don't we? It's tough when you have a vagina, guys, all right?
13 days after getting out of jail, authorities say he carried out another crime.
Why? Dude, he shoots himself. He shoots a gun in the commission of a crime. How is he out of jail in 13 days? It gets worse. It's like, what do you mean out of jail? All right? Because you could totally frame that as attempted murder of a police officer, grand theft auto, and probably a half dozen other charges. And he's out 13 days later to commit another crime? Should have accidentally shot himself in the head. Yeah, exactly. Handsome Horse says Badugan gets no bond. Again, keep in mind that these esteemed young Napas will literally try and kill someone with a gun in the commission of a crime while driving a stolen vehicle while resisting arrest and be out of jail in 13 days to commit another crime when Dugan's been behind bars for over 2 months now.
With a gun, pointing a gun at a 16-year-old and taking his phone and designer shoes. His recent punishment.
Shoes. Richard, all right, you're a guy, right? Ostensibly. Have you ever thought of like somebody else's shoes and you're like, dude, I would stick this guy up for his shoes. I'd draw my gun right now and steal this guy's shoes.
I can't say that I have. I'm not a big shoe person.
These people are so retarded and also so materialistic. They are the perfect goy cattle, right? Like no forethought. They don't care about your high interest loans. Again, they'll rent a $1,200 Dodge minivan for 30, 40, 50% interest. What's interest to them? They don't know what a monthly payment is. What's a month from now, right? Stealing shoes, you know, whatever clothing item it is. They're so materialistic. They're so retarded. Perfect goy cattle. All right. Yeah.
For those crimes, 5 years probation and a 90-day in-custody intervention program. The case strikes at the heart of a central and ongoing question in the criminal justice system. When should prosecutors turn to intervention programs versus prison time?
Spoiler alert. This guy doesn't need an intervention. He needs a short drop and a sudden stop, right? I think we need to just fix the problem at the source by removing it from our society, much like a cancer, okay? Because think about it, dude. You let this guy out 2 weeks later, less than 2 weeks later, he's already trying to shoot someone else. Like, he robbed a guy at gunpoint of his wallet and shoes. That could have very easily been another murder charge, or at least an attempted murder charge, right? There's no intervention. We just need to and he's 17 years old, okay? This one's done. Cut it off. Start again, right? It's like an infected plant, or you don't want it to ruin the rest of your bloodline. You need to keep your society pure, so to speak. So to remove the infection, you just get rid of these people and you try again, okay? I think this one's just gone bad. I don't need to see any more.
Why did you drive off?
This ain't my will.
Dude, does this cop actually have her nails done?
Yes.
Is this a black cop? I can't tell with the skin tone. Look at the watch, the bracelets. Really? Really? The guy must have just given up because he shot himself too. Right? Because the guy there's no reason for the guy to give up when he could just run away. But I guess because he shot himself, he's like, oh shoot, man, I guess it's over.
Yeah, he needs that.
Obviously, dude.
Sergeant Mabry says she believes a plea deal
abuela,
between the Travis County District Attorney's Office and Freeman reached last month is too lenient, and she says she fears a risk to the public when he's back on the street. But Travis County District Attorney Jose Garza says he believes the outcome of Freeman's case will keep the community safe. Following.
Was that before or after he attempted to rob the second guy?
Definitely before.
Dude, future Torta, that's a current Torta. I don't know what you're talking about. That is a current Torta, bro.
His 90 days at a state prison for the intervention program, he must participate in any recommended counseling, complete his GED, work full-time, or be in school, and must have no firearms.
Turn around!
90 days? That's your intervention? 90 days? Just really, okay, for your intervention here, 90 days at this facility. Remember, no firearms. Remember, guys, no firearms. All right, 17-year-old. Remember, no firearms.
Hey, what's going on? Who's truck? I need for you to come.
All right. Anyways, well, you know what? We are should we just we got to get to the rest of this stuff. Okay, we might as well keep on down the pathway of people being retarded. Okay, cities and states. We have Chicago here. Their new solution to crime: signs on the city transit that says violence is illegal. Did you guys know that, Richard? Did you guys know that violence is like not cool or something? Did you know violence is like heckin' illegal? Did you know that you can't even go like do a violence on the subway anymore? That's crazy. Anyways.
Putting up these signs as an indication of what consequences will be for any criminal actions on the CTA. We are hoping to deter crime and to encourage people to come forward if they are witnesses of crime. These signs are a message to all of our riders.
Yeah, I think we do this. Yeah, I think we need to have a talk, okay? Foids, heart to heart here, okay, buddy? Like me and you, we need to have a talk about these people and putting up signs, right, with words on them. You would be better off using pictures, all right? I think that's more their speed, you know, or maybe just have a dedicated Ebonics translator on each section of the train, you know, so that you could inform them that, listen, to come on to this train, need to promise not to do a violence. Please don't do a violence on our train. It'd be so annoying if you did a violence on our train. Oh, please don't do it. Here, I'll put a sign up. I think this should deter. Like, do they think that some Napa is like just waltzing around and is like, oh, I'm about to stab this white bitch. And then he looks up and he sees a sign and it's like, violence is wrong. And he's like, the knife falls out of his hands. He has an epiphany. He falls to his knees crying, realizing the errors of his ways. Is that what they think is going to happen? Right? Like this sign is going to magically stop someone from doing that. Again, these people can't read to begin with.
Well, the people putting up the signs don't care because they clearly don't ride the bus or the subway or any of that stuff.
Oh yeah, you think these two Foids don't have like armed security or just are rich enough to live nowhere near any of this stuff? You think they have to touch public transportation without a film crew around? I don't think so. Yeah, this performative act of woman is brought to you by your tax dollars at work. True.
We are putting up these signs as an indication of what consequences will be for any criminal actions on the CTA. We are hoping to deter crime and to encourage people to come forward if they are witnesses of crime. These signs are a message to all of our riders and employees that we are working together with the County State's Attorney's Office to take action and ensure and promote a safe ride on the CTA.
They should turn up the music. I can still hear them. Look up Anduril's new anime ad. Well, let me guess. It's going to be kind of funny because who's the guy in charge of Anduril? Is that Lucky? Palmer Lucky. Yeah, that's the guy. He's like weird enough that it's almost off-putting. Oh, is this the one? It's a cartoon. It's like 3 minutes long. But while we're on the topic of, I don't know, man-made horrors beyond our comprehension, it's probably better than Foids. Is this the one you're talking about? Title is Thunder, New Era of Attack Aviation. Thanks, Anduril. Thanks for making it look like my favorite anime. That's so heckin' wholesome of you to have like killer AI drones. I love this. This is awesome. Listen, okay, if you're going to make like the future dystopian, at least make it look cool, you know, like modernized Osprey that look like they belong in like, I don't know, Avatar or something like that. It's like at least make the stuff look cool, okay? So that while we're like hiding in caves to escape our overlords. At least like the aesthetic is there. Yeah, so using AI controlled robots or drones or attack vehicles that work in conjunction with real people to keep the real people safe obviously just makes sense as kind of like the next step of you know, military development, if you will, right? Like we've even seen, I don't know if you've seen the videos, I probably should have had one on stream, is China is doing testing with the robot dogs with guns on them, like leading the breach. So the dog with the gun goes in first and then the real people follow, and they've been doing like force on force training with this stuff, and you can just go look up the footage. It's like, makes sense, you know, first one through the door. This, you know, might as well have one of these drones soak up anti-air before one of your, you know, actual helicopters with people goes down, if that makes sense. A, B, C, D. That's good. Yeah, coming to an Arma game near you. But I mean, like, listen, I get it. It makes sense. Obviously, operators are more expensive and harder to train, and you still want some of them in the air doing things, but you can combo them and make them a lot more durable, and you can get a lot more out of them by pairing them with, you know, automated aircraft or drones for defense or attack. And honestly, like, if one of those things gets shut down but gets the mission done, like obviously it's like a success. Whereas if you get a pilot down somewhere, now you got to do a pesky rescue mission and a bunch of other crap, right? Who wants to do any of that stuff? Now, of course, this is all very nice and well, but they're showing it very clearly. Like, listen, it's the Apaches, right? It's our guys in the helicopters that are controlling and utilizing the drones. But this is just an intermediary step, right? Eventually, the people are gone, and it's just the robots, right? It's no people actually monitoring the situation, no people actually giving the yes or no people actually involved outside of like some desk jockey halfway across the world. You know, it's just going to be just the drone swarm, right? Black Ops 2 drone swarm, called it. It's going to happen. Right now they're like, oh well, this is here to protect our investment, to protect our guys. You know, you got the picture of the black father with his son, very unrealistic, by the way. Just saying. Okay, all right. It's like, oh yeah, we're protecting our boys out there with AI drones. Don't worry about it. I'm sure these will never be put to bad use in the future. Okay. Why is everyone black? Jones and Jones. This is supposed to be a father and son couple pairing, whatever you want to call them. A little gay, yeah. A black father is more unrealistic than the AI death machines. AI death machines are very real. Very, very real. Well, I mean, the whole thing is AI. The whole thing is AI done, I'm pretty sure. I don't think they had real animators on this or anything like that. So, of course, the AI ad has AI music for their AI attack drones that are going to be like heckin' killing people in the future. I'm so excited for all of this nonsense. Osprey crashes immediately. One of those things caught fire on the ground, which I find very funny. That's true, Christian. These will be defending Israel's skies shortly. Worry not, young men. You too can die for Israel. But before that, you could you could get killed by a taser. Taser more dangerous than guns? Tune in next time to find out. Arizona man burned after federal officer deploys taser at a gas station. Now, you remember back in the day, Richard, I'm sure like 20 years ago, there was all this hype and paranoia about like static electricity at gas stations causing fire and blowing everyone up. So much so that, you know, Mythbusters and a bunch of other people were doing whole on episodes and documentaries about this sort of thing.
Yeah, it was actually a real thing, though. I worked at a gas station for a short period of time, and in the training material, they had dozens of short clips about 30 seconds long where people would be pumping gas, and then they'd go and sit back in their vehicle for a few seconds, and then they'd get back out of the vehicle, reach for the pump, and the fumes exiting the gas tank would ignite through the static electricity when they would ground out to the pump.
Which is, it is a real thing, right? But, you know, just a little bit of static electricity can get it done. But also a taser, you know, something that is designed to emit large amounts of electricity in a short amount of time. Also very good at that sort of thing, right? So not a great idea. Probably not going to go well.
All I'm asking for is your license right now to identify what.
That's Chuck Coyle on the other side of the phone, recording the standoff with a U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service officer.
What am I being arrested for?
Wait. A fish and wildlife officer is arresting someone at a gas station? What did I miss?
And Wildlife Service officer.
What am I being arrested for? You are not cooperating for having committed a crime. What? A misdemeanor? A misdemeanor.
Seconds later,
it's a $10.
Coyle drops the phone. You see the flames and can hear what happens next. It took place at a gas station on the Fort Mojave Indian Reservation.
Unleaded 375. I had an Indian reservation too. Oh my gosh. Well, you know, that $10 fine probably turned out into a big payout for the guy. Jeez.
What am I being arrested for? You are not cooperating for having committed a crime. What? A misdemeanor? A misdemeanor.
Seconds later,
it's a.
Did he call him a slur? Did he call him like the N-word or something? That would have been funnier. Don't censor it next time.
Coyle drops the phone. You see the flames and can hear what happens next.
Oh.
It took place at a gas station on the Fort Mojave Indian Reservation back on July 16th. Coyle says he was with a friend and that they planned to fish at the Havasu National Wildlife Refuge. He tells me that officer approached and said they couldn't be there.
Well, I mean, listen, okay. Natives committing crimes and having no respect for anyone or anything. Wow, that's crazy. Color me shocked. That's wild, bro.
Coyle insists they left, driving to the gas station, and says the officer followed him. That's when the confrontation happened.
Why were you recording the incident?
Something told me with a gut feeling to start recording, and I just started recording.
It seemed to be there was an escalation of force without cause.
Roy Taylor has more than 4 decades of law enforcement experience and studies when and how force should be used.
Officers, if they're properly trained or taught, never use the taser in any flammable environment.
While he points out,
I mean, a gas station is like not flammable. There's no like propellants around.
Yeah,
There's
it's not like
no fuel
idiots
sources around.
overrun their fuel tanks and spill it on the ground all the
No,
time.
I mean, honestly, I don't know of a better place to be tased than a gas station next to the pump, right? I mean, the only thing better than that would be like next to a fire extinguisher, I guess. But right next to a fire extinguisher is like a gas station after I'm done pumping up my vehicle, for sure.
The only other thing would probably be that the airman,
The airman, what do you mean?
the one that doused himself in gasoline.
Well, yeah, that was pretty intentional though. So
We don't know from the officer's perspective what led up to the incident. He says it doesn't appear the officer is de-escalating things.
Should he have been trained on de-escalation tactics?
He should be. That's pretty much a standard.
In response to my questions, the feds confirm a taser was deployed, writing consistent with DOI policy.
I mean, I don't know about how they're supposed to deploy tasers, right? If it's an escalation, if the guy's yelling at you, is that provocation for you escalating your force, right? So are you going to go to taser after somebody's yelling at you for a misdemeanor? I mean, technically, you said he was under arrest, so maybe on some technicality, he's resisting arrest. But it is very gay. Again, for like if it is true that it is some minuscule fine, just write the guy a ticket and be done with it. It's like, here's the fine, pay it, I guess, and move on with your day. I don't think you need to arrest someone. I think that's a big waste of everyone's time.
All such deployments undergo review, and we are unable to comment further while that process is ongoing.
That was uncalled for. It truly was.
Coyle says he was taken to the hospital after the ordeal and that no officers have reached out to question him about what happened. He has not been charged. He maintains he would have given the officer his license once he learned what he was being accused of.
Yeah, you can watch the video for yourself, but does the department even have a taser policy?
Yeah, so I was interested in that too. Because
Wait, so what was the actual crime though? Was it just some meaningless misdemeanor crime?
Look, Fish and Wildlife, they do. And
Yes, it was a trespassing for Fish and Wildlife. Like they were fishing in an area where they weren't allowed to be.
So just find them and be done with it. Like literally just write them a ticket. And honestly, if you have their license plate, you can just send them a ticket in the mail. Right? So like, who cares about this? This is meaningless nothing burger. Yeah, I know. Trespassing. It's like, write them a fine. Be done with it. Like, I don't know. It's like if a cop pulled a gun on me for a speeding ticket, I'm like, you know, it's like, listen, this is not the sort of crime that is deserving of like lethal force or some sort of, excessive force, whatever you want to call it in this circumstance, right? This is not needing this behavior, okay?
not within department policy. So lots of questions there. There is surveillance video of what happened at this gas station. We have requested it, but we have not.
Or you can just light them on fire. That's kind of awesome. You don't do that every day, John. That's true. Very true. It's not every day that I get to light an Indian on fire, okay? So you gotta save those opportunities and just get them done, okay? Well, Richard, I feel like that's a pretty good place to call it there. It actually went on quite a bit longer than I was thinking it would. Paulie B for 5 says, suddenly a troop of Nappas descended upon the repo man and drive him off. He will go hungry tonight in the concrete savannah. AI David Attenborough. Yeah, that would actually be really good. Thank you, Paulie B. Appreciate that, sir. Vinland Werewolf for 250 jewels drops the laughing disco. Excuse me. Thank you. And then Agardis for 2 says, swiper, no swiping energy. Oh, the female Foyd Latina cop. Yes, very much so. She needs to be disciplined. By disciplined, I just mean fired. And then I sniff mustard gas, 1,000 jewels, drops a loot box. Thank you very much, Mr. Mustard Gas Sniffer. That is a very, very funny name. Well, Richard, what do you got? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to shout out before we get out of here?
I just want to say thanks to everybody who's sent the well wishes and prayers and everything over the last couple of days, and it's really meant a lot to me. So
good.
Thank
Very
all you
glad
guys.
to hear that. I know it's not fun to go through the loss of an animal, the loss of something that's so important to you, you know, that you take care of and live with and love with and loves you. It's just one of those, you know, parts of life never gets easier, right?
Yeah. Tonight is it's one of the last nights. So,
well, suppose I won't take you any longer then, man. Appreciate you, praying for you, bro, and I hope that that process goes as smoothly as possible. And yeah, just sorry to hear that, man.
Yep. No, the only other thing, check in on the homies. You guys have been great.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for hanging out. Thank you to Andrew of Otter Creek Labs for coming on, giving us an hour and a half of his time talking suppressors and drama and other very fun nonsense. Thank you to everyone in the chat for hanging out, for supporting, for commenting, for lurking. You guys keep the show going, keep the lights on around here. I am in desperate need of some sleep, and you guys have a job to do, okay? Because a lot of you guys work real jobs, do real things in the real world, and for that, I am greatly appreciative. Listen, guys, if you don't go to work tomorrow, if you don't earn your money, some Napa's not going to eat in some Section 8 warehouse, okay? You got like 20 black people to support, all right? So get out there, work extra hard, pay your taxes so that it can be used to replace you and to, man, that's really depressing, and to fund the AI transition of our military while it integrates with Israel at the exact same time. Yeah, that's not very uplifting. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, it is hump day. Get out there, get after it, get some self-improvement in, check in on the homies. Do what's good, you know? All right, do something hard, do something fun. God bless, Godspeed, Christ is King. See you in the next one.